From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage.
Everyone's mic'd up. Good to go. All right, let's do this. Good morning, geeks and blurs. Welcome back to the Council of Blurs GeekCast. This is episode 3 or 2.5. No, not 2.5 because last week's episode wasn't 2. It was the first part of 3. So 3.5, but 3 in name and on paper. Excuse me, I've been in a real apple juice kick lately, so you'll be seeing me sipping on that for most of this GeekCast. I'm your host, Kendrick Grey, the Dreadlock Blerd, and joining us today is Kim McCoy, aka Enigma's Girl. She's not feeling too well today, so if she doesn't talk too much, don't chew her head off about it. You know, she's allergies and weather changes and all that bullshit. It's New Jersey, so. Also joining us is Harold Gibson, aka the leader of the X Zone. Say what's up, everybody.
What's going on?
And then last but not least joining us today is Matthew V. Haynes, aka the Clockmaster.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Alright. As you guys have noticed, we are down one short today. Katanni Bramhan, aka Dark Angel 29, couldn't join us today. She is going to be working today. I don't know what the hell happened, but November became a very busy month for everyone, so that's why we are doing these streams on Sunday as opposed to the Saturday that we normally do. So maybe after Thanksgiving, we'll be back on the Saturday schedule because that seems to work for everybody. But other than that, we're just going to jump right in. Before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that the audio from last week's news rundown GeekCast and today's audio from our main topic of discussion will be combined into one big audio file that will be up for podcast listening later on in the week. So if you're wondering what happened to the audio from last week's podcast, I didn't upload it just yet. What happened, Kim? What's going on?
You're still saying starting soon while Matt's actually running.
It takes a while. It takes a while. You know, it's a delay in the streams and stuff. So, you know, it'll happen like that. But let me just see here. Yeah. So yeah, it'll kick in a minute. But so like I said, look for the full audio from last week's podcast and today's podcast later on in the week on all the available podcast streaming services: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, RadioPublic, Breaker Audio. What else am I missing? There's so many that were Spotify. There's just so many. All this, of course, is in the description box. So whenever you get a chance, just check those things out, and you'll be able to figure out where you can listen to us if you can't watch the audio. Of course, if you can't watch the audio, you should be watching the audio. Shame on you. What is wrong with you? But if you cannot watch the audio, then definitely, catch us on the if you can't watch the video, definitely catch us on the audio. That's the next best thing. Since last week was a big news rundown, there wasn't really much news to cover this week. I know there's a couple things that we want to talk about, like upcoming movies that we're anticipating, that we're really trying to go see. I know, Kim, that you're very much interested in catching, I can't believe I'm getting the name of the damn movie.
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts 2's The Chronicles of Grindelwald.
Chronicles of Grindelwald.
Like I told her the other day, I kind of stopped at the original Harry Potter franchise. Although Fantastic Beasts looks pretty good, especially this one, I haven't really been following it. Maybe I'll catch it. I'm not quite sure yet. But you guys can go ahead and talk about that.
Well, you should watch it because it's different, and Kim could probably add to that. It's different than Harry Potter in ways, but it also brings some cool new things to the entire wizarding world that you've never really seen before or explained in the movies. Right. So I found I didn't read the book, so I don't know if a lot of those things were explained, but they did have some really cool concepts.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out, especially the whole beast thing, and Newt is a great character. Really good.
Yeah, and it's more so, honestly, the first movie, you know, and I know if I ruin it for you, I'm sorry, but the first movie is set in America for Fantastic Beasts. It's not set in London. It's not this whole, you know, all London cast, everything else. You have York, American, right? It's New York.
Yeah, New York, 1926.
Yeah. So you have a big transition from one to the other, where you now know what happens to the wizards on our side of the, you know, of the pond, rather than, you know, just all of that. So it's a little bit different, and you know, it's a little bit more dark. You have your Johnny Depp figure in there now, you know, playing a dark character, and he's very, 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 you know, manipulative in a way. So it's kind of more messed up, I think, than Harry Potter is in a sense.
Oh, it's way more adult too.
Yeah,
it's way more adult.
A little bit more dark.
Way more dark.
And I tend to enjoy it. It still has the kids moment. You still have your laugh moments and your funny, cutesy moments and everything else.
Yeah.
But you know, when I saw it, the last movie, you know, I thought I was done with Harry Potter too, and I'm like, no, we're going back. We're going right back into it. So I'm super, super excited. I'm more excited because, just like I was telling Matt earlier, AMC is doing this really good thing where they're like setting it up on a Tuesday for the opening.
Like the fans,
like for the super fans. So like people that can get in on a Tuesday. It's an IMAX theater only though. That's the only drawback is that you have to pay that money. So you'd be like $25 a ticket. It's like ridiculous, but you know they're giving out like pins and stuff like that, collectible items.
I was going to ask if they were going to do that. Yeah.
So they did wands the last time, which I got my wand from the last time I went. Earlier.
I think I'm definitely excited for Crowns of Grindelwald because mainly we're going to see Jude Law as a young Dumbledore too.
Yes.
That's going to be. I want to see his take on Dumbledore.
Yeah.
That's going to be really cool to
different. See. Yeah. It's going to be a lot different than what we're used to because this is all happening. You have to think this is all happening prior, I believe, to the Harry Potter series. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, so this is all happening while, you know, the school is still fresh and everything is still being learned, and all these people that are in the Harry Potter series are still, you know, their own wizards in a sense.
Yep.
You know, learning and everything. So that's why it's a little bit more dark, I think, because they haven't established all the rules and guidelines that they had leading up to Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think everything that happened in the original Harry Potter franchise was because of results of Grindelwald and things that happened prior to all of that, like the establishment of like Deathly Hallows becoming more of a thing, and all of, you know, his whole agenda, like Grindelwald's whole agenda and everything, like really shaped what was the Harry Potter story from what I was researching. So I think those elements in this movie is really going to make it a keeper. I was looking for a spin-off of maybe like Harry Potter's kids, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But Fantastic Beasts will do.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, mainly because of the fact that Rowling herself even said that she's kind of upset how she left Harry Potter with who she left him with. So she's not, you know, she really wasn't comfortable with who she left him with at the end. So I don't think we're going to get that film.
The character or the director?
No. Sorry, no. As far as like Harry Potter being with, what's the girl's name? Not being with Hermione.
Okay.
You know, not ending up with Hermione. Yeah.
So it's more of a story thing, right?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think more so we're going to end up with... I think this is a better route to go because seeing what happens prior, you can get a little bit more in the backstory. You can get a little more dark. You can get a little more adult. And you can kind of piece together a lot more leading up to, you know, what happened in that series. So I think this was the better route, and I'm super, super duper excited for it.
Cool.
Well, there's a film that I'm looking forward to is It's a film called The Infernal Machines, I believe. It's a steampunk type of a film, and I've just been desiring to see a true steampunk movie. The plot itself, it basically, when I saw the trailer, you just see this giant city on wheels being chased by another city on wheels, and Hugo Weaving plays the villain.
You said Mortal Engines, right?
Mortal Engines. Why did I say Infernal Machines?
Yeah, that's
Mortal Engines.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Why did I say Infernal Machines? Mortal Engines.
Because I was getting confused. I'm like, I didn't see a trailer for that.
Mortal Engines. I've been dying to see a steampunk really represented. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't. Really, I mean, I think the only time we ever really seen steampunk really like sort of represented was the Wild Wild West. But we don't talk about that movie much. So
the Wild Wild West was.
What movie was that again? You said Wild Wild what?
The Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Okay, God. Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. So, but that's one of the films that I was really looking forward to more. I mean, just to take a break from the whole superhero thing, I really wanted to see something different. So, Mortal Engines, I am looking forward to that. Yeah.
It's me personally. A lot of the new DC movies getting ready to come out, I'm definitely interested in. But one thing, and I can believe I'm saying this, but I'm really looking forward to the newest Dragon Ball Z movie. What they're deciding to do with Broly, I think is interesting, because Broly is just one of those characters that a lot of people took a liking to when he first appeared in the Dragon Ball Z movies. We've seen him battle a whole bunch of different slew of villains and stuff, aliens, monsters and stuff like that. But for them to battle another one of their own that they didn't know was still alive hanging around, to me that kind of I always thought that was an interesting concept. I know they're supposed to be kind of retconning the origin story, not only of Broly, but Goku and Vegeta as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how they do that, because now all their
you said they're retconning the story?
Yeah, Akira Toriyama is basically because he didn't create Broly. He didn't create him. Somebody else did. Now, if you guys really follow Akira Toriyama's career, there's always been a tendency for like the writers to always want him to create different and new characters, but he doesn't have a lot of the say in how the story of that character is written. Broly was one of those characters. Like a lot of the movies, like the old movies from like back in the day, he designed the characters, but he didn't create a story behind them. So like characters like Broly and Broly, Lord Slug, Hirudegarn, Janemba, those type of characters, he designed them, but he didn't write the backstory for them. This is the I think what makes people so excited for this one is the simple fact that he's all in on this movie. He's creating the backstory for Broly. He's changing a lot of the dynamics of what existed between when this planet Vegeta was destroyed up until now. And now it's the thing, like I said, where Goku, Vegeta, and Broly's origin story kind of intertwine with each other. So he's also basically rewriting the history of Goku and Vegeta, because if you guys have seen the Bardock movie, again, that came out years ago, that was one story, but now it's something completely different. So I am highly interested to see exactly how that story is going to play out. And it's coming out in January, so I'm definitely going to the movies to go see that. And then, of course, there's
So let me ask you a question about that movie, though, Ken. Is it because I was a little bit confused about that? Is it actually taking place after the events of Dragon Ball Super, or has nothing to do with Super at all?
It's taking place after the Tournament of Power, which was the latest Dragon Ball Super arc. So it takes place after that. but they're gonna do a flashback. There's probably gonna be multiple flashbacks in the movie of how things went down on Planet Vegeta, like when Frieza basically took over the Saiyan race and started ruling over them. And then, the history with King Vegeta, Bardock's father, Paragus, and Goku's father, Bardock. And then, did I say Bardock twice? I meant to say Broly. So, but that's pretty much what's going to happen. So, like I said, it's gonna be one of the movies. I mean, I don't know how much involvement he had with Resurrection F or the Battle of Gods movie, but I know that he's like super all in for the Broly movie. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm not quite sure if he's still going to be on that legendary Super Saiyan status. He most likely will be, but I guess we'll find out when the movie drops.
Okay.
And then, of course, Wonder Woman 1984, Aquaman, and Shazam. I'm excited for those movies also.
Oh, Shazam for sure, man. Shazam for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Captain Marvel come up in this list at all yet.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened with that.
I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel.
Because I think that, I don't know. I think that's probably the most anticipated thing right now, to see a Captain Marvel movie.
It's funny because I enjoyed the trailer, but I'm still not like... I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a dope movie. I know it just released that they're going to set the movie in 1995, which is a good year.
Yeah.
95 was a good year. So
I feel like it may have. I know you mentioned in the trailer. I feel like it may have an Ant-Man and the Wasp vibe, where it's like it's hyped. But remember, after Ant-Man and the Wasp, after like the first 2 weeks it was in theaters, like it just sort of started to slowly die down in the conversation. And the movie was okay, but it wasn't like, Spider-Man Homecoming level or Guardians of the Galaxy 2 level or, those types of movies. So I don't know. I know what you mean by based on the trailer, you're there, but you're not really there. Yeah. That's how I felt with the Ant-Man and the Wasp stuff.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean, but...
Because I think it's the simple fact that once Infinity War came out, it was like all of the hype went strictly into that. And went strictly into that. And anything coming out after that was going to be subject to kind of a subdued audience because, I mean, the hype for Ant-Man and the Wasp died down pretty quickly.
Real quick. Yeah, it did. Pretty fast.
I mean, Captain Marvel, I know that's a movie that a lot of people are looking forward to. Even me, I'm looking forward to it, but it's like it's not exciting me as like Infinity War did or Avengers 4.
Right.
I was about to mention like that's coming out too, and that might have like a 3-hour runtime apparently.
I heard about that.
It's funny how people, criticizing when the studios release a runtime of a movie. I'm like, listen, I've sat through every single one of the Lord of the Rings movies. I've sat through all of them. You mean to tell me I can't sit through a 3-hour-long superhero movie? Stop playing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Come on now. Like,
the problem is? The problem is that there's no good time to go to the bathroom during a 3-hour movie.
That's true.
That's the only problem. Is that because, and you know what's going to happen. It always happens. Even during a 2-hour movie. You're just sitting up there and you're like, halfway through like the best action scene in the movie, you're like,
I mean, you literally got a plan to not drink. Yeah, okay, sip. Okay, what time is it? Okay, sip again.
Put a timer on the stopwatch.
But then you don't enjoy it then because you're too busy trying to focus on your like method and not necessarily the movie.
Exactly.
I mean, I know. Like for me or any other like I would say like hardcore gamers more than me who game for like hours without using the bathroom. I know they'll be okay. But for me, if I'm watching them like that, I don't drink. Look, I have a rule. And when I go to the movies, I don't care what movie it is. I don't drink anything. I drink all my liquids before, so I'm hydrated. And then maybe I carry a water with me and probably drink it when I know it's like the third act or about to be the third act. Then I start drinking water. But I try to stay away from water because I know like when you have to pee, you have to pee. Comes up when the most important stuff is going on.
I'm usually pretty good in a movie. Like, I don't know. I think I've mastered the art of holding it in because I mean, I do it a lot here at the karate school. If I'm teaching a class and I can't run to the bathroom or get off the floor, I hold it. But like, if the movie's like really good, I won't even think about it until like the movie's over. Then like once I come out in the movie theater, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
See, it's not like one of those situations where like if you're outside and you got to pee, it's okay. But there's a moment you get in the house, it's like it's ready to come out, and it's like, what the hell is this about? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
But you guys have it so much easier because you guys have stalls and you have urinals.
That's true. That's true.
We
Also,
only have stalls, so it's like the line out the door. Like you'll see me. I'm that person. I don't care what movie it is. If I find out in that moment I have to go, you'll see me bunny hopping down the stairs. I'm that one person that distracts the whole theater because I'm hauling. It's just like, but I want to get back, but I'm hauling. So it's like it's a horrible feeling to sit through a movie, and I know like people that like cannot sit through that long. So I know that's probably one of the biggest complaints. And then you have some people that have kids.
That's true. Also.
Kids can't sit through a 3-hour movie. You know, so I know run times are like the biggest complaint for a lot of those things. They keep making them longer and longer, but you can always split them up. You know, I hate to say it that way. And you probably get more money that way. I hate this.
Harold, I think your mic.
Mike. Yeah, we can't hear you, Harold.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Mic is gone. Mic is gone.
If any of you guys watching would like to contribute to getting Harold like a good ass mic,
we're starting a GoFundMe for Harold.
No, we're still not hearing you, brother.
We still can't hear you.
We gotta get him a mic, and we have to get him some new internet.
Yeah.
Does your laptop have a mic, Harold? If your laptop has a mic, then you might have to go with that.
Yeah.
Tani just chimed in. She said that she's totally a bad Marvel fan. She hasn't watched the Captain Marvel trailer yet.
I wouldn't say she's a bad Marvel fan for that, because a lot of people are very indifferent about Captain Marvel right now. I'm very excited about Captain Marvel because I've read the majority of the comic books, and I'm still reading a lot, and I just love her as a character. Like, I think she's awesome. So I was really excited about it. Yeah. But people who don't really know her or know her relevance within this story is not going to be too excited about it, especially if you don't know her. And so I wouldn't really blame her for that. Like, there's no motivation or drive to watch this trailer if you don't know anything about it.
Harold,
you know what I mean?
Harold, we still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. We still can't hear you. All right.
Yeah.
So 1 sec. Yeah. Someone in the comments said they gotta wait for DVD to watch it, to watch the movie, because they can't sit down in the theater for that long.
You know what,
I'm totally with. You know what? And I am one of those people the same way. If it's too long for a movie, I can't sit through it. I know I can't sit through it. I'm not gonna subject myself to it, especially if I'm gonna think I'm gonna miss like a good part of the movie.
Yeah.
So, and it's always like that for me. It'll wait until like the best action scene, and then I'm like, I can't wait another minute and a half for this to finish. Yeah. No, because then you miss the good dialogue right after the scene. So,
you know, because like I can't remember the last movie I actually went to that I got up in the middle of it to go to the bathroom. I usually try to maintain my position at all times while I'm there until the movie's over.
That Black Panther was the last movie I saw in the theater, and I had to go in between it. The last thing I got out of was "What Are Those?"
Oh,
and that's it. And I ran out the theater.
All right.
Ken, is it alright if I just give a quick shout out real quick?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to Trix for his resub on Twitch for 7 months in a row. I just wanted to shout that out because he just did a resub. So appreciate you, Trix. Thank you.
Let me shout out Daryl Taylor for joining the chat for the YouTube live stream. What is going on? We're still waiting for Howard to get back. He had a couple of technical difficulties and stuff, so he should be back soon. But there's actually a great deal of things coming out next year. Godzilla King of the Monsters is coming out.
Yes, I totally forgot about that.
That looks cool. I can't wait to see that. I think somebody just joined. No. Wait a second. Did somebody just join that? Are they still filming it?
I still think they're in production right now.
Because I know whoever plays Colleen Wing from Iron Fist, she just joined the cast for King of the Monsters. I'm forgetting her blasted name, but I just saw that she had just joined the cast for Godzilla King of the Monsters, so that should be good. I mean, considering the fact that Iron Fist is canceled, so
Quick question. Do we have a Titans discussion on this thing at all by any chance?
You can. I still haven't watched it yet, but I've been following it.
You haven't watched it yet.
I've been following it though, so I'm gonna try to jump back in it real soon. I don't know if Harold watches it. I did see a couple of your posts though about you maybe giving up on doing the reactions to the episodes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I could explain a little bit as to what happened with that. Long story short, there's just been like a lot of like crazy fandom surrounding Titans, where people who like hardcore. It's very similar with Harry Potter, like. Like, okay, a good example of that is, I don't think Harry Potter himself as a character is a great wizard. I think Harry's a trash wizard. But then there's a lot of, I'm just saying that right now, but there's a lot of people in the Harry Potter community that just absolutely love Harry Potter, the character, and will defend him with their life. So the minute you disagree with that, they're going to verbally abuse you, they're going to think, and that's kind of what was happening with me with Titans. There were the few gripes that I had with some of the stuff in the show, and I called it out, and the fandom surrounding that just couldn't respectfully disagree with me. So that's just pretty much what was going on with that, you know. Wow. But I still decided to do reactions regardless, because the support outweighed the negativity from that. So, you know, but that's kind of what's going on right now with Titans, unfortunately. The fan base is just kind of getting, I don't know. Yeah, I have no issue with people liking the show, because I do like a good amount of the show. Yeah. But I just think it's better with anything, and we talked about this in our toxic fandom discussion. Like, if you disagree, you know, you can agree to disagree. There's no need to abuse people and getting personal. Yeah. Just because, you know, they disagree with you. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, Titans is getting there.
I saw the latest. I saw a couple of production stills of whoever they got to play Jason Todd as Robin. I kind of like his suit better than I like Brenton Thwaites' suit.
Man, I will tell you, bro. The last episode, he I don't know if this kind of spoiler for you, so I don't know if I should touch it, but you already know he's coming. Yeah. So he showed up, and I wasn't expecting him to show up in the way that he did show up. So when he showed up, that got my attention. Now I'm like even more excited for like the next episode of Titans, because the way how he showed up in that episode, I was not expecting it. This guy who's playing Jason, he's the one. I think he's the one. I wish he's a little bit older, but I think he's the one. And his costume is on point.
I'm gonna have to check that out then.
You gotta check it out. Yeah. Next episode is titled Jason Todd, so it's gonna be like a Night King and Jason Todd episode.
Oh, you know what? Then it might be that time. Then it might be that time. Check it out.
They had the Doom Patrol too. Just saying.
Yeah, I did see that also. Real quick, Daryl Tim just let me know that it was Jessica Henwick. That's who played Colleen Wing. The name was off the tip of my tongue. I totally forgot what it was, but thanks for that. I'm wondering what's going on with Harold.
Yeah, is he still coming in?
Is he trying to get his?
He might be switching to his laptop.
His laptop. He was doing it on his phone. Yeah, that's
right. He said it's a little bit older a laptop, so it might take a longer time to boot up. So.
Oh dang.
But and what was I just going to say? Oh yeah, I attended the Urban Action Showcase yesterday. It was alright. I was telling Tiny this about it last night. This is my third year going. And this year I only went as a fan. I only went as a fan, a spectator. I didn't go as a vendor. I didn't go as a filmmaker. I only went as like just a fan. And like I said, I think the previous years they were more popping than this year was. I feel like, you know, the energy that was there previously really wasn't there this year. And I mean, I don't think it's probably not no one's direct fault, but you know, this year they honored Blade. It was the 25th anniversary of Blade, I think. So they did that. They honored Blade. They honored Enter the Dragon, Game of Death, and a couple other movies. A few of the people that I met throughout the acting world, you know, they were there and stuff, showing off their thing, but it wasn't as energetic as it was before. And to me, an event like that is something that's worthwhile because it's an event that deals in people who are interested in martial arts, sci-fi, fantasy, things like that. Like a couple of movies, a couple of the fan films or short films that I watched, they were pretty okay. Some of them were cheesy. Some of them were cheesy, but there's a couple of them that I saw that were pretty good. One was called Prodigal X. It was a computer animated short. I thought it was pretty good. Proportions, notwithstanding, were a bit Mortal Kombat 2011-ish, but it was pretty good. There was one that I saw that I thought was really interesting, and I can't wait for the YouTube release. It's called Immortal P.I. What we saw was the 5th installment, but there was 4 others before that, and basically it's about a guy who happens to be immortal, but he's a private investigator. I don't know anything else beyond that because I haven't seen 4 installments, but they're supposed to be releasing it on YouTube at some point. I don't know when, but I'll be looking forward to watching that. And like I said, there was a couple other ones that were cheesy. There was one that was like really cheesy, but it was probably the most entertaining one of the whole night. It was fantastic. But,
really?
Yeah.
There he is.
There he is.
There we go. Now.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can.
Okay,
Yes,
I had to hardwire the sucker. I had no Wi-Fi. I had to go straight into the box.
That's all right.
So
Probably better.
Yeah.
That's all right. Daryl just asked if we heard about Aquaman getting early reviews and some of them being positive. I did see that some of the reviews for Aquaman have been pretty good, but I haven't been reading anything about it.
Yeah, no.
You know, so I did hear about it. I didn't read too much into it because, like most of you, I would rather go for myself and see how it is.
Yeah.
You know, so critics can be a little bit much these days. So
I don't read any reviews for anything until I see the movie myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even watch other people's reviews until I've done my own.
There you go. You can't influenced by anybody else's your points of view. You know, because that indirectly starts to lead into toxic fandom sometimes.
Davion just joined the stream. What is up, dude?
Davion, my cuz?
Yeah, he just
Davion Bussy, what's up, man?
He just joined in. What is up, dude?
All right.
He was there at the Urban Action Showcase also, so you can definitely get with him and and he'll tell you how it was. Like as far as reviews is good, there's some that I watch. Like I'll watch Chris Stuckman, I'll watch Jeremy Johns. Sometimes I'll watch John Campea. It's been a while since I watched a John Campea video, but I'll usually watch him. You know, because usually they're good at not spoiling anything. They just give them like a basic idea of how they feel about the movie they watch. I just posted up 3 reviews a couple days ago. One for the final season of House of Cards. Yeah, that. And then I also posted up my review for Tales from the Hood 2, which was Sci-Fi Channel trash.
What's it called?
Tales from the Hood 2.
I kind of figured it was going to be that way. That's why I didn't bother.
You made the right choice.
What's it about, though?
Have you ever seen the original Tales from the Hood?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
What?
Oh, God. You have to go. Okay, so now you got to rewind. Before we can tell you what it is, you have to go watch the original. And then when you watch the original, come back to us and then understand why a second one was probably not a good idea.
Well, what's the general thing, the story about though?
The basic premise for Tales from the Hood is almost like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
it's an anthology movie.
Never even heard of Tales from the Crypt.
Are you serious?
I'm being that serious, man.
You've never heard of Tales from the Crypt?
Okay, so basically it's like Twilight Zone for horror films. Okay, it's basically what Tales of the Crypt is.
Or like
let's just reverse that.
Or like Creep
So
you have your main situation going on. You have your main situation going on, and everything is being told around that situation. You know, you have a person that meets the weird old man, and they're looking at all these artifacts and saying, let me tell you the story about this. And then you see the story, and then it goes back to the old man and the visitor, and they say, well, what about this over here? Oh, that story is interesting. This and then it goes back to that central part between the crazy old man and the visitor, and then comes to find out that every story that they're talking about has everything to do with that one person. It's that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I was born in the late '90s, so I don't think I didn't watch anything like that. I'll have to check it out though.
You'll enjoy the first one. You'll enjoy the first one. The second one, it was bad. Let me just say this: it was a waste of Keith David's talent and time. It was a waste Keith David deserved better than that. He deserved a lot better than that. So
he needs to go back to doing the voice of Spawn.
Exactly. It's funny because we still don't know much about what's going on with that. We only know that Jamie Foxx was casted as Al Simmons, but we haven't heard anything else beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I don't know.
It's a big mystery with that. They're saying they're going more of a boogeyman horror route, and not so much for comic book big cape sort of a.
They need to stop playing because the original Spawn movie cheaped us out of that cape. I ain't trying to get that.
Yeah.
I need my red cape.
Didn't I hear there was like 12 different like costume changes happening or something like that?
Probably.
During this movie, like.
Probably because I don't know. I know Todd McFarlane is like really heavy on the production team with this, so. But
he wants it right.
Yeah.
Hopefully this time.
The only other thing I could think of that caught my attention this week was the release of the picture of Superman and Lois Lane for the Arrowverse crossover for Elseworlds.
Yeah.
I didn't see that yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No. How come I haven't seen? Hold on. Let me Google that. How come I haven't seen that yet?
Yeah, that's
very Donner-esque.
Yes, very much so, and you picked the right word because she very much looks. The picture looks very much like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Who they got playing? I forgot who they got playing Lois Lane, but she looks like. But here's the thing: I was always under the impression that Lois had like black hair or like really dark hair. I know. I know, like Superman Returns, the DC Cinematic Universe, even Smallville they gave Lois Lane just like a dark brown hair look. I'm like, but I always was on the impression that Lois had black hair. I like black hair Lois, like even the cartoons did it.
Yeah.
So I like the hair aside, I'm okay with, but I just feel like to me Lois has always had black hair. That's been Lois to me. Even in the comic books, you know, so it's like.
Is it me or in this picture does she look a little bit older than my boy Tyler?
She does.
Yeah.
She does look older.
She looked like his mom here, especially with the white robe on.
Well,
I mean, Tyler looks great with the suit. I mean, it's a fantastic picture. It looks like if they're in the fortress, right? I'm looking at it now.
To me, it looks like Tyler Hoechlin buffed up a little bit more to fill that suit out a little bit. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
You know, I know Tiny's excited. I know that because Tyler Hoechlin is.
She loves her Tyler Hoechlin.
That's her celebrity crush. So
yeah,
there's that. But I think
he looks great in this suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like Superman here to me.
Yeah. You know, I guess they dialed back a little, but I think they wrapped production on the crossover, so that's why they dialed back on a lot of the production sales and stuff. Because literally, the crossover is coming in like 2 weeks, like after like Thanksgiving and stuff. Like I think the first weekend in December is when we actually get the crossover. So
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be dope.
They say the ladies from Grimm, I don't know if any of y'all have seen that.
I've never watched the show, but I know a lot of people enjoyed it. I was never really big into it, you know. But, you know, aside from that, I mean, I guess that's all the movie news and stuff. Like, I still haven't been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't played that yet.
Haven't got it yet.
Did you hear? It's a weird thing off topic, and this is just the horror fan in me. Have you seen any of you seen the new Sabrina, the Teenage Witch?
I started watching a little bit. I kind of got a little turned off because of the whole stupid teen angst nonsense.
I was never.
I heard of it.
I mean, I watched the old series here and there, but I was never like a super fan of the series, so I haven't been watching this one. But it's crazy about what's been going on with it. About this, the Church of Satan is suing the show because it's the depiction of the statue of Satan in it. And then the whole thing is like now the show could be pulled from Netflix because of the lawsuit. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
It's like a Christian church
that's where we're going with
a sign for Jesus.
So like Satan's out here canceling shows.
That's weird.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Canceling TV shows. So this is what we got going on.
Maybe that's what happened to Jessica Jones. And I'm sorry, it's happening. It's happening to everything else. Everything else is kind of canceling on Netflix because Satan's involved. You know.
I'm like, yo, it's like this is.
No. I insist it's because of the Infinity Snap. I think that's the true reason why Luke Cage and Iron Fist disappeared. I think there was an Infinity Snap, y'all. That's what.
That's fair. That's fair. I can roll with that. I can roll with that. Yeah. That meme just writes itself. It really does.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I don't know. Maybe I think I have a lot of friends that enjoy the series. I might give it a look. You know, it's not really my thing. I haven't even watched the new Charm series yet, but I haven't been hearing a lot about it. To be honest with you, I've been hearing people talk about the new Charmed.
Yeah.
I watched the old Charm here and there, and I thought that was a pretty good series. But this new one doesn't really seem to be catching fire.
Yeah. That can segue into the topic of the day, man.
Absolutely right.
That could segue into the topic of the day because trying to like bring back the shows that that were the classics and trying to redo them, it's really a catch-22, almost a catch-0.
Yeah.
Many times.
Of course, if you guys haven't figured out what the main topic of discussion is today, it's a piggyback off our GeekCast about toxic fan syndrome, and today we're going to be talking about the nostalgia police. Now, a lot of us who are in the geek and nerd community, we know a great amount of people who are like nostalgia Nazis, and it gets to a point where it becomes just like, dude, like just relax. It is not that serious. Like nostalgia is basically defined as like a. How did I define that shit? Hold up. I wrote this thing down. Hold up. Let me just go.
A reminiscence of one's past love for something.
Yeah, like sentimental longing or wishful affection for the past. Typically for a period or place where a happy person associates their happiness with. Now, we are all guilty of, feeling nostalgia for a great deal of things, whether it's a favorite cartoon or a video game or a song or a place you went to as a kid. I mean, we're all entitled to that. We're all human. We create attachments to things that bring us the most joy. But when it reaches a point where, and again, like we talked about in toxic fandom, where you feel that you have a possession over that thing, now we have a problem. Because at the end of the day, that thing doesn't necessarily belong to you. Like I pretty much describe people who are the nostalgia police, and you guys can correct me or add to it. Is like I said, they are individuals with a connection to a property of the present or past so strong, the mere mention of said property being rebooted or remade sends the individual into a rage, feeling that said property will be destroyed. So I mean, we can give a rundown of a lot of the things that the nostalgia police are almost destroyed. Like, I mean, like right off the top of my head, I could tell you, look at Ghostbusters 2016. That's the most recent thing. Like, like I said before, I'm an extreme ghost head. I've loved Ghostbusters since I was a kid. Does that mean I'm going to completely shit on Ghostbusters 2016? No.
Of course not.
Do I get the same excitement and emotional rush that I get watching this than I do from 1984's Ghostbusters? No.
No.
But do I enjoy it? Yeah, I still enjoy it. In fact, it was on the other day, and I was watching it. You know, it's one of those movies that kind of grows on you the more you watch it.
Yeah.
And again, like there's a lot of things that I found myself laughing about. The original Ghostbusters had me at the Ghostbusting aspect of it. That's what it had me. The new movie has me at the comedy aspect of it. I enjoy the comedy more than I enjoy the Ghostbusters part of the movie. You know, there's that. You know, let's look at She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. The remake comes to Netflix.
This weekend.
I watched the original here and there. It wasn't like a big thing for me. But my thing is this. I know there's people that are out there like, why are there princesses? Why does she look like a boy when she transforms? I'm like, dude, it's a cartoon. Okay?
Yeah.
Wait. People actually said that she looked like a boy when she transformed?
Oh yes, I think there were articles.
Really?
There were articles about this, man. I swear to you, there were articles about this because people felt like when she transformed into She-Ra, she looked more like not even just like a boy, like more of like an androgynous character. Because I guess they were expecting to see like full boobs and like thick thighs and stuff. I'm like, it's cartoon, first of all.
Right.
You know, I think we're beyond the point of objectifying women in cartoons. I think or at least we should be. Hell,
yeah, we should be.
Ed Boon, and this is why I praise Mortal Kombat X, because Ed Boon actually took the time and made all the characters look very much more realistic than he did in Mortal Kombat 2011. You know, if you look at Katana's outfit in Mortal Kombat 2011, you know, it was scantily clad for the most part.
Yeah.
But if you look at Katana in Mortal Kombat X, she's reasonably dressed. And all the proportions of especially all the female characters in Mortal Kombat X, they make sense.
They're more practical.
Exactly. So I give Ed Boon a lot of credit for that. But I will say this, Ed Boon. If you don't drop no news about Mortal Kombat 11 anytime soon, I'm done with you. Because listen, I'm gonna sidetrack it right now. You've been giving out hella DLC for the mobile version of MKX. I got MKX sitting on my PlayStation 4 right now. I ain't got no new skins. At least give me the skins that I couldn't get. Give me the skins I couldn't get. Because I'm not downloading that mobile version. I'm not.
Yeah.
Just give me my skins and we'll be fine.
Right.
But you giving all the skins to the mobile version, man. I don't like this, man. You killing me out here, bro. Every time I see you up on Twitter, you posting something new for the mobile version. Nah, I don't like that, bro. You gotta stop that.
Ken, can I add to what you were saying about with She-Ra?
Yeah.
Because it reminded me of another remake that I happen to be a huge fan of, and anyone who knows me knows this, Voltron. Yeah. And
I love Voltron. I love the new Voltron.
And the thing is, I went back and I would say this is where the nostalgia police kind of were, you know. Let me explain what I'm saying. So, okay, the original Voltron, I went back and I watched it after I've seen the remake. Right. Yeah. And in my opinion, the original was super corny. Very corny, very cheesy. A lot of the lines were like... I remember seeing one episode and they were just like talking about something so simple for like 8 minutes. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And then, so I would say the remake, a lot of people were very satisfied with how it happened. Right. So Nostalgia Police, when it was first announced, I remember some people were like, oh, I didn't really know about this. How are they going to remake Voltron? Voltron is a legendary defender. Don't do that. And then like they're keeping an eye on it. And then when it was done, they were like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. You know, I like it. It's not that bad. I like it now. But if they probably got like one detail wrong, then, you know, they would like bash the whole entire thing. I mean, it's understandable where I can understand someone being upset that their childhood, you know, thing has been changed or abrupted in some type of way. But I understand the emotion behind it because I felt that way too. Yeah. But I do all think it boils down, like with anything which we talked about earlier, is just respect. Yeah. That's just respect. because I see nothing wrong in being upset that something is kind of changed.
Right.
But
that's kind of natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tani just said that was just them being sexist. She thought it was funny. I guess she was talking about the whole She-Ra bit. But you brought up a very interesting point, Matthew, because if you think about it, a lot of the things that we did watch, a lot of that shit was corny. to a degree, a lot of that shit was corny. Like, especially in the dialogue area. Like, let's look at another one that people have been losing their damn minds over. Thundercats. Now,
yes.
Okay, I can't even get with that because I never watched Thundercats ever.
What?
Yeah, man. Thundercats was that was like the cornerstone of cartoondom back in the day.
She's not alone there. I haven't watched the original. I've only seen bits and pieces of the remakes.
Now the original, the original Thundercats. If you go back and listen to some of the dialogue, it is very cheesy.
Yeah.
But we were kids, and we didn't really care about the dialogue. We only cared about
that was a different time, you know. Exactly. That was a different time.
Now, Thundercats 2011. That was the shit right there.
Yeah, very good.
I don't know if you guys watched that one. That was the newest remake of Thundercats, and to me, they did that one so dirty. They did that one really. I thought that was probably the best remake that we had. Next to the Masters of the Universe remake that we got in 2011, also, because they remade Masters of the Universe 2, and I thought that was a pretty good remake, also.
Yeah. They paid a lot of homage to the original.
Now, the newest iteration of Thundercats, which is Thundercats Roar, has everybody up in arms.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Say what you want about the animation. My thing is this, and this is what I told people, you know, when it was announced. I was like, listen, you may not like it, but the new Thundercats is going to do well despite itself, and you know why? Because it's directed towards kids.
Yeah.
If you look at all the cartoons on right now, you know, everything is really directed towards kids. You know,
the new TMNT is like that too. I was kind of triggered with it a little bit on Nick, but I'm like, you know what? No, this is for kids. They love it. So that's what it is. I'm not gonna watch it though, but they love it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's be real here. Cartoons back then were for kids, but they had a lot of adult themes behind it that we just didn't understand or went over our heads. And this is going from the 1980s all the way up until like the early 2000s. That cartoon was like that. Even Rugrats. If you look at Rugrats, there was a lot of adult themes that would go over kids' heads, but as an adult, you would catch.
Right.
Yeah.
These days, they decided to take it a different route, you know, because I know I've seen people get up in arms about the fact that certain characters or certain cartoons are written to be like homosexual or like, you know, things like their sexual orientation is changed or like a gender is changed and stuff. I'm like, listen, this is the world that kids live in now.
Yeah.
And what better way for them to be, well, either introduced or have a better understanding of that world than for it to be shown in cartoons?
Yeah.
I know,
well,
Steve.
I'm like, is it because I'm like, at that point, do you think it's people just being nostalgic, or do you think it's just people just not willing to change? With
that good one.
That's the one that's not willing to be open-minded. Yeah.
Because that's what I think is more so, is that I think a lot of the stuff that's changed is more so changing with the things that are happening now as far as society-wise.
Yeah.
And there are people that are just, you know, stuck in the 1980s, you know, with their big hair and their fluffy, you know, shoulder pads, and they want to stay there forever, you know, and they don't want to change. But, you know, most of that, like, I don't think it's nostalgic. I think it's just changing because of the fact that our kids are seeing different things now. They're spending more time inside the house. They're doing all these things where we weren't doing that. Yeah. We were outside. We were out and about. We were hanging out. So these cartoons didn't have that kind of impact as they would if we were to show those cartoons now. They'd probably seem a little bit more, you know, intense, or, you know, a little more violent or intense. Like, look at Ren and Stimpy, like running around calling people idiots all day.
Yeah.
You can't show stuff like that now.
Ren and Stimpy was one of those cartoons that I don't know how it made its way onto Nickelodeon. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how to this day how it made its way onto Nickelodeon, but it did, and we were all the better for it. But to your point, Kim, you know, when we look at those, when we look at these people that like, you know, are kind of stuck in the past, to a degree that's kind of nostalgia because they're stuck in a time period where they found the most joy.
Yeah, it's true.
Like if let's just go outside the realm of like TV and movies and stuff. Look at just the people that you see on a daily basis that are constantly complaining about this being different or that being different.
Right, right.
It's like and you just say to yourself, things have to change over time. That's how evolution works.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I spent a great deal of time around a lot of people that haven't really come out of the past in their way of thinking. A lot of people are still operating on things that work for them in the past that don't work for them now.
Absolutely.
And it's like a rude awakening for them when they realize that the things that they did back then that worked are not even close to working in today's time.
Yeah.
And then they have to realize that like things change, things evolve, and things have to become a little bit more balanced and streamlined for things to work out. I mean, nostalgia police notwithstanding, like I said, everyone has a period where there's just certain things that they're not willing to like concede to.
Right.
You know, whether it's a certain video game, a certain movie, a certain song, a certain cartoon, certain dance. You know, it's just.
But it's not. It doesn't hurt until you actually, you know, to be that way. Until you get to the point where you're now trying to push that on somebody else who's trying to change with the times. And that's why I think the nostalgia police actually are. Being nostalgic is not the problem. It's being nostalgic and trying to push that nostalgia on somebody else as the right way. I think is where that is.
Well, it combines what we were talking about too, being nostalgic and, like you said, Kim, you know, at bringing that toxicity involved as well. So it also with toxic fan syndrome coupled with nostalgia.
Yes.
Both of those together, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Because being nostalgic is great. Like if you're sitting around with your buddies, you know, you haven't seen them in like 5 years, and you guys went to high school together, and you're like, yo, man, y'all remember this? And like y'all start talking about stuff, and like it's a good feeling, you know.
It is.
And to have that conversation with your buddies or just reminisce on the past. But when you bring in that, you know, you see a young kid. And you're like, man, you don't know nothing about Power Rangers, bro. You ain't know nothing, bro. What you talking about? And like, that's fine. And like, you know, you're going off, you know, like, this is great. You know, we do that, but it's like when you get to a point where you're just trying to like throw somebody out for liking what they like, that's the problem. That's the problem. You know?
And it becomes a major problem because, unfortunately, if it comes to the point where it's a person that doesn't know when to stop or doesn't know when to concede, it can create a major problem because I know there's a couple of things that may have gotten like pushback or like stopped because people just weren't for it. And you know, I had a couple of examples in my head, but they left me, and it's just crazy because these were things that I would have loved to see happen. You know, things that I would have loved to see made, but because people, again, in their feelings about stuff that doesn't really belong to them.
The Lord of the Rings series is one of those, by the way. The miniseries has been pushed back like twice, I think.
You know, and you know that's the whole thing. Like when I'm the type of person, because I know there's a lot of people that can't stand reboots, they can't stand remakes, they just don't like them at all. My whole thing has always been, if there's a way to improve on it, try it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If there's a way to make it better, to make the story better, to make the effects better, or to make whatever aspect was lacking before to make it better, try it. Now, I get that there's some things that are sacred that probably should not be touched.
Right.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You know.
You know.
Yeah. There you go.
but it's like it's the same thing with like the Doctor Who series right now for me. There's a lot of people that are very upset that the Doctor is now a female.
Yeah.
They are extremely upset about it. And I have another reason to be upset about the change. It's not because she's a female. At first I was very against it because the Doctor's always been for years a male.
Yeah.
I would have preferred personally to see a man of color.
That would have been dope.
Before I saw a woman, and I hate to say it that way, it sounds kind of messed up, but I would have rather seen it not be a white male, but a black male as a Doctor instead of a companion. Because we're integrating all these colored people as companions, but not as doctors.
As leads.
And I would have loved to see, and I would have been more diversity for me, but it wasn't necessarily the nostalgia of it being a man. It's the fact that the writers are also writing her character very flimsily. Like, sometimes you want to feel like she's a guy, sometimes you feel like she's a female. You can't tell what they're going for with the writer's perspective because they're so used to writing for a male character. And
so basically what you're telling me this season so far is not good. Great. Noted.
Well, I haven't
seen it.
Growing. I'll say it like this. It's growing on me, but I also didn't like the 12th Doctor. So we're going, we're coming from one Doctor that was like not the best to her. So it's a hard transition.
But aren't the Time Lords aliens that happen to
aliens.
take on forms?
Yeah.
But
they're aliens that regenerate into new forms.
But hey, listen, don't let that stop a nostalgic police person from criticizing something like hell.
No.
Wasn't the biggest thing earlier this year the fact that they were looking for a new James Bond, and the fact
that
they were considering Idris to be James Bond? I'm like, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
many people have theorized that James Bond or the 007 title was just that. It was just the title. It didn't matter who was, who was the actual person. When we have from George Lazenby to Roger Moore to Sean Connery to Timothy Dalton, who I say is a underrated James Bond. They don't give Timothy Dalton enough credit. Timothy Dalton killed that shit. To Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think, that could either be nostalgia or it could be racism. I don't really know.
It could be I think it has more so to do with underlying racism.
I don't think it's nostalgia.
I think that's more underlying because when you automatically go to put a person of color into a character that people automatically see as white, it immediately all the flags go off, all the sirens go off, and it's because it's not right. Well, I can gender bend a character all day long, but I can't make that character black.
There's also this though. It's a little bit. It's confusing. I can't really fully say it's racism too, though. I think racism and prejudice as well, because I'll say those who don't know, Sam Heughan if you guys have heard of Sam Heughan, Scottish actor known for Outlander. He acted on Stars, and there were talks about him being James Bond, and he's Scottish. And if you guys are not familiar with a lot of the prejudicial and the different tension between the Scottish and the English.
Yeah.
Now he was like, I'm down for being the first Scottish James Bond, and a lot of English people was like, Scottish James Bond, hell no. And he's white, and they're like, we don't want a Scottish James Bond, hell no. We need an English James Bond. Idris is English. And they still don't want. So I'm like, I think it's a little bit more complicated than just race too. I think race has a lot to do with it, But I just think it has a nostalgia too and prejudice. Like, James Bond is a complicated discussion.
It's funny though,
but it's any character though. It doesn't necessarily have to be James Bond. It could be any character that is traditionally of a certain background, race, color. Because sometimes you can't say race because they're aliens. So it's like. It's any character of that mindset where they're just streamlined to be one sort of person, and then you just kind of throw this person in, and you're like, hey, this is my idea of the new look for this person, because we now have to rebuild the brand. and again, moving with the times. We need to show people that we can move with the times, and we can now allow more black people into the theater. We can now allow more Scottish people in. So if we're not doing that, we're just kind of sitting in, you know, the 60s and 70s, kind of going, you're supposed to keep it segregated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Katanni just chimed in saying that she doesn't watch Doctor Who, but she heard that a lot of people went crazy over a female Doctor Who. I remember when they announced, I forgot the lady's name who was playing Doctor Who.
Jodie Whittaker.
I remember when they announced it and people lost their fucking minds over the shit. I was just like,
yeah.
And I'm just here like, why the hell not?
I'm
with you, Kim.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would have loved to see a person of color, become the next Doctor. I mean, a woman becoming the next Doctor is cool, but you know, we black, so you know.
Yeah.
The throw says it all. Like because you're seeing his last companion was a black woman. She was a lesbian.
Right.
You know, they're incorporating more black people into the show, because if you look at the show historically, it was mostly white people. They're incorporating more. I would have loved to see a black character become the Doctor. Now, can you find a character that can be that extravagant, or somebody that can be that wild and extravagant in a black character? I don't know, because I wouldn't know who you would put in that place.
It all boils down to the actor's abilities at that point.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what they can do. Because I remember when they first announced and I only started watching Doctor Who after they announced it, because I was planning on watching it for a while. And I remember when they announced it, and they say it's going to be a woman. Without me even watching the series at first, all I did was, ooh. Because I knew the response that's going to come for that. Because I know traditionally I've always only seen, men in, you know, and I saw I keep forgetting his name from Jessica Jones season 1. I know David Tennant. I know he was a lot of people's favorite Doctor. So I remember seeing that, and when she was announced, I was like, ooh. I'm gonna wait 1 hour, and then I'm gonna check Twitter.
Right.
I checked Twitter and people going off.
Yep.
Going off. I was like, dang. You know?
The willingness to change and the willingness to have an open mind and have the sober mind of knowing that these are fictional characters, that if you take the color and the sex off of the character, all you have left is the character.
Yes.
And whoever it is that is portraying the character, you should be able to, number one, the actor should be able to represent who the character is, how they would react when this sort of a thing happens, their mannerisms, just remember that moment before, remember that the history of what that character went through. And if you're able to place yourself in that lore, in that universe, and be able to portray the character, you could be any race or gender, and that character will still shine through. Because a lot of people had a problem with the young man that played Han Solo, but after a while, when I looked at Solo, I was like, okay, that's Solo. That's Han.
You see it, right? You saw it.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden, yeah.
It's not that different from everyone who was losing their shit over Anna Diop as Starfire for the Titan series.
Yeah.
And you know, this
I love Titans.
I was losing my butt off.
No, me and Tani have talked about this a great deal. Tani's biggest issue with that is the fact that they didn't make her orange, and they could. You know,
that was my only complaint too for many months.
I didn't understand that either. I don't understand why they made that choice.
I mean, I don't know if they were being lazy or something. It's like,
because if you can turn Gamora green, you can turn her.
I did see an explanation though to that from some people commented on my videos. Like, had me thinking maybe I understand what they're saying. With Titan specifically, they're going for a more realistic route. And they were like, okay, it doesn't really make sense for a bright orange lady walking around the street doing espionage work. Because that's kind of I mean, for me, it didn't matter. For me, I'm like, just make her orange. That's what she is in the world. But I decided to be more open with it and look at it from their perspective and see what they're trying to say. And I'm like, okay, I guess if that's what they were trying to do, I guess. But I still personally wanted her to be orange.
That's probably
and I still do.
And
just saying.
And that's probably the reason why Ryan Potter, who plays Beast Boy, he isn't green all the time. Yeah. So.
So that they can kind of blend in with, because it's abnormal. But my thing is, DC and Titans is a fictional world to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an abnormal world, so why not? I mean, they made it work in the comic books. Why not make it work here?
Exactly.
You know?
But that's our version of nostalgia, because all of us are looking at it.
There we go.
We're
catching ourselves now, right?
Yeah.
But at the
We're
same
caught
time,
ourselves, right?
like you said, the thing is that we can kind of, what's the word I want to use? We can bend and, work around those changes like that, because we understand what the filmmakers and the creators, what they're trying to do.
Right.
Their reasoning is that, at least in this world, and I've pretty much a long time ago, I've pretty much come to consider that anything outside of the comics is an Elseworld story. Like the movies, the TV shows, they're just like alternate universe storytellings and stuff. So that's why, a non-orange Starfire or a non-green Beast Boy exists.
Which is a nice, and that's one of the cool things about if you have the DC Universe streaming service. They have Titans here, the film, and they have the comic books right below,
right underneath it, references.
So that way you can compare and contrast, and you can make up your own mind. Like, okay, this is the comics, this is the film. Okay, so you'll see the differences and the possible reasons why they did not go the comic book route completely.
Right. Yeah,
and they went this way.
Extreme. There's a lot of stuff
the
that's extreme in there.
benefit to you guys is that you're willing to give it a try, regardless of all the changes that are happening to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a lot with the nostalgia police or people that are very nostalgic in that manner. They'll kind of cut it off at pretty much as soon as it happens. They're like, okay, no. Sorry.
The moment something is announced, they are ready to shut it down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when Thundercats Roar was announced, videos were up with within the next hour, posting about this is not my Thundercats. Like, first of all, Thundercats ain't yours. You didn't make it. You didn't draw it. You didn't write it. It ain't yours. So you can't claim it. But it's people are so quick, and I think that's one of the issues about the nostalgia is that they're ready. They're triggered, so to speak, to just shut down anything that might have to deal with remaking something that they loved so much as they were younger.
I think what they mean when they say, at least this is how I've always seen it. If I say, "Oh, this is not my Batman," at least from my perspective, when I say that, I mean this is not the one that I grew up with.
Yeah.
More or less saying that this is not mine, as in I own the rights to it. But this is not my Batman. This is not the one I grew up with.
Yeah.
I grew up with. This is not my thing. I think at least I hope that's what they would mean when they say that.
But isn't it nice that we have variety, y'all? I mean,
that's cool. It's really cool.
What were you saying, Kim?
I was saying that I think that's the case with a lot of people when they say it's not mine. It's not necessarily saying I'm not going to push it on you and say this is the one that you should be watching, but this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And as long as they're willing to give it a try, that's the big difference. Is that okay? I watched it, I saw it, I didn't like it because this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's different than those are oh yeah, I'm not watching it because this looks exactly the opposite. Because if that's the case, you wouldn't have the Dark Knight and you wouldn't have all the different Batmans and all the different stuff because it's we'd be doing the same exact thing. We'd be sitting here with the same Batmans, the same crazy wild schemes going on all over the place.
Right.
And every movie would look the same. We needed that change.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right in the middle.
Even if you don't go, even if you're not willing to give it a try, again, same principle. Don't go out of your way to discourage someone who wants to give it a try. If you don't want to give it a try, you can be like, you know what, bro, this ain't for me. I ain't gonna watch it. I ain't gonna watch it. I don't like this. Just don't be like, yo, you shouldn't watch that because don't go out of your way to try to discourage somebody.
Yeah. Don't let your distaste for something, infect somebody else's enjoyment. We're in a world now where it's like, and it's so sad. Like our very enjoyment for things gets threatened by people who have a problem with X, Y, and Z because it's not what they like. Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane.
As a person on the receiving end of it, you should also be, mindful that the person may be stuck in their ways and stuck in their past, and that,
True.
sometimes you just gotta brush off your shoulders and keep moving, especially if that's something that you're interested in. So it's kind of, learning how to maneuver around those types of people on a regular basis.
You don't have to be around that person 24/7. So say, okay, you don't like Star Wars Resistance, you hate it and everything. Okay, all right, bye. Click, loving it.
Like my whole thing is this. When it comes to dealing with the nostalgia police, there's gonna be rare occasions where you'll probably get through to someone where you gotta help them realize that, like, listen, if this is not for you, then it's not for you. That's okay.
There it is.
It's not everything's for everybody, and that's what I always tell people. Like even with my YouTube videos, I tell them, like, if this isn't for you, then you don't have to watch. But don't punish everybody else, and more so punish yourself by talking down about it and still watching it, because all you're just doing is just making the situation even weirder, because you're down talking something that you don't even really have to participate in, but you're still here. Like, why are you still here? Just go away. You don't like it, we've established that, and just keep it moving.
Excuse me, guys, just for a second.
Yeah.
See one of your...
What happened?
No, okay. I think on Matt's comments, I was reading somebody's comment. He said, thought they were trying to get to a younger audience and to Teen Titans. He said, I didn't mind it because I knew it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I think that Prince Barrow said that, right? So, and I think I agree. I totally agree. I think Teen Titans was made for this audience now, because I think a younger generation, or the people that are younger than us, they need something more tangible and relatable.
Yeah.
We didn't need that. We didn't want to become these characters. We wanted to become, other things. So to become relatable to these characters is probably what they need for a lot of these younger teen audiences, because they're not going to be able to depend on us after a while. We're gonna be 50 and 60 soon. Not going to be able to make it to the theater for some of us, and we're not going to be target audience.
Like, I'll give a really good example of, like, someone who approaches nostalgia in a very good way. My grandfather is in his 70s, right? And this man grew up reading Detective Comics, like OG Batman from, like, the 50s, bro. Like, he grew up reading that. So my grandfather's a huge Batman fan. And throughout the years, it still has never stopped my grandfather from watching new versions of Batman, or reading new versions of Batman, or even up to the comics now where they changed around a couple things with Batman. It still doesn't stop him from being a core fan at his best. And he embraces the changes. And he embraces, the fact that life goes on and people change things. And that's to me, I've never ever heard my grandfather. He had some gripes with, like, for instance, like Ben Affleck with the little beard on him. Yeah. He had a little gripe, but he's like, no, Batman should be clean shaven. And I explained to him, like, man, this Batman kind of struggling, man. He's going through some stuff, So it helped him view it a different way, but. Never have I ever seen him or heard of him, trying to discourage somebody because it's new and it's different.
It's funny. I remember a few years back talking with my dad, and I think he had seen a commercial for, like, Batman '89. I think it was coming on TV, and I remember him saying that he wasn't really into that because he didn't like the fact that this Batman killed, and I was just like. I mean, granted, they made a few changes in the comic book, but early on, Batman did kill in the comics. He used a gun, and he was, like, capping people in the face. But, they eventually, retconned that, so...
Yeah, Batman pushed people in front of trains, bro. Like, old Detective Comics Batman wasn't playing.
He straight up murder people.
Yep.
But,
things change.
Yeah.
People's minds change. Mindsets change. People go to jail all the time and come back, different. So, people change. And it's one of those things where we, like, as nostalgic as we get, and as, it sucks for us.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to get older, and, we're starting to become the people now. Back in my day, this used to be this way, and we used to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to sound like our parents,
Mm-hmm.
We're listening to the music now, and it all doesn't sound like what we're used to.
Yeah, I found myself saying that a few times, and I'm like, what the hell kind of music is this? What the fuck is mumble rap? What the fuck is that? But
yeah, it's what's now. It's what's happening,
it's
and all you do is you change the dial. You move on to what you're used to. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you go back to what you want. If you don't like it, you flip the switch. It's okay.
I would only complain if I didn't have any accessibility to what I wanted to see. If I was in a world where, let's say like 20 years from now, I love Kendrick Lamar, right? Let's say 20 years from now, 20 years from now, they're playing some new rapping with like it's not even words. I don't know, something's going on, and then I for some reason don't have access to listen to Kendrick Lamar, and it's nowhere to be found. Then I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
But like now, if you don't like a new movie or new show, or songs, we're talking about music. People listening to 6ix9ine and all these people. You're like, you know what, man? I don't need to listen to this, man. Let me go on Spotify or Google and pull up Tupac and listen to Tupac. Fuck this. I can go back and listen to something.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. People get in my car all the time, and they're like, Kim, why don't you listen to the radio? I was like, because I don't want to hear what's on the radio right now. I have a hard drive sitting in my car playing off everything I want to hear. Because I don't care. Because I don't care for it. But I'm not going to force it on people to go, you shouldn't like it either. No. I get in other people's car. If that's what you want to listen to, I'm going to have to listen to it,
You create your own world. I was listening to you guys as I was in the other room. You got to create your own world. If another person doesn't like what you like, then you create your own. I mean, the type of music that I listen to, I'm big on drum and bass. I'm big on, believe it or not, like 90s rock, like Smile, Empty Soul, and Trapped. I'm big on. I actually got kind of turned on to anime theme style music, there's this artist named Lisa that I've been listening to a lot. And I was listening to her her mix list on YouTube, and I listen to that stuff on YouTube while I'm working out, and it makes what is it about anime themes that makes you feel like you can actually start kick everybody?
Right?
Yeah. Look, how many times have I listened to Simple and Clean on a regular basis, because I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah.
And listen to Utada Hikaru, and I'm like, why am I bouncing up and down in my office? I become bubbly and I become goofy, and it's just something about like that music that makes you just want to get up and dance. Same thing with K-pop for me. You
feel like you could just you just feel like you could just run and grab a sword and just kick a demon's ass. Like that,
It's like
when I'm at the gym and I put on like the late 90s, early 2000s Dragon Ball soundtrack, or I put on like My Hero Academia, or I put on something like that. I'm like, I feel like
there you go.
Tani can tell you that. I mean, we both don't listen to the radio. I can't remember the last time I've ever listened to like a radio station. I just don't. Like, whenever I drive, I have my music on my phone, my Google Play, or my SoundCloud. I Bluetooth that mess in, and I just listen to the music that I have from my computer. Majority of my music playlist consists of songs from video games, movies. I'm a big movie score person.
I know a lot of people that are like that.
Me too. That's all I listen to a lot.
Like the Dark Knight soundtrack is like all over my computer.
Yes.
The Dark
Knight.
Hans Zimmer. Unbreakable. Man of Steel, even Wonder Woman. Like movies, video games, TV shows, like the old suit Dragon Ball from Bruce Faulconer. That's on my playlist.
I listen to the radio to stay up to date. That's all I listen to it for. I listen to the radio to stay up to. I like to be in the now. I like to know what's going on around me.
Yeah.
So
if I was a DJ, then I could understand having to listen to today's music to know what it is. Yeah. You know, that was my profession, that's what I do. But that's not what I do. That's not what I like. You know, and it's, you know, you kind of just go with what you like. And, you know, if you feel as though you need to be nostalgic and you need to be in your own bubble, you need to be there, then, like you said, you know, create your own bubble.
There you go.
Create it, live in it, sit in it, you know, marinate in it. But don't be afraid to kind of step out every so often to kind of peek out and see what's new. Because if you're always left behind, you know, you're never going to know if anything actually really good comes up, because you may have something new to be nostalgic about.
And that's, I think, is the ultimate issue as far as the nostalgia police is concerned. They are so trapped in their own nostalgic bubble that they don't really see that whatever new that's coming out may actually be something that they might be interested in.
Yeah.
Let's look at anything being remade. Like I said, if it's something that's being remade and it could possibly be done better, why not give it a look? Why not check it out? Because it might be something that you might seem like, oh shit, this is better than what I was on. What was wrong with me? I can't believe I was so bent on that old thing that this new thing actually was better.
Right.
Like give me an example, maybe you know, of a movie that you saw originally and you saw a remake and that you really, really like the remake a lot better.
Wow.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers?
For me personally, Saban's Power Rangers.
I would have to agree with you on that one. I thoroughly enjoyed that version of Power Rangers, and I was kind of hoping that they would continue that.
I loved it, to be honest.
Yes.
You can see the box. I got a donut box with that that thing in my room right there. You can't see it on the webcam, but I have it right there. I love that movie. That movie was awesome.
They left us hanging, bro.
Tani said that if there's something new on her playlist, it's because Pandora suggested it to her. She like when she drops his.
That's the way I am too. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Daryl Taylor says that he still listens to the Wonder Woman ending song from the movie. I enjoy the end credits theme.
Action Reaction, one of the best songs on there.
As far as like a movie that I've seen that was a remake of something, I'm trying to think, because there's a couple of them that I really enjoyed. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Power Rangers was one of them. I actually did enjoy that one. I enjoyed the new Power Rangers movie a great deal.
Yeah.
I think they could have done more. There could have been more fighting. But
yeah, I agree.
And then for them to leave us with a teaser of Tommy showing up, they got to see that one through.
That killed me.
They have to see that one through. You don't just leave.
I think another company bought the rights temporarily though, so I don't think they're gonna do that. Hasbro, right? Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it.
Now let me ask you guys a question real quick. Whenever the song "Stars" comes on, the song with Kendrick Lamar from does that bring you back to the excitement of the first release of Black Panther? Because it does for me. Every time, it almost feels like, oh wow,
it doesn't for me.
It already went out. It was already out. It kind of makes you feel like, oh, it's coming soon. Well, it's already been in the movies, but it brings back that feeling. It brings you back at that excitement.
It does that for me. I agree. It does that for me every time the song comes on.
Yeah.
Not for me, but that's because of obvious reasons.
Yeah, you're not really a fan of the series, right?
Yeah.
Tani brought up something interesting. She said it wasn't a remake of a movie, but she really enjoyed the Teen Wolf show. And I'm with her on that. I really enjoyed the Teen Wolf show. Like, the movie was one thing, but the Teen Wolf series I thought was really great. Same thing with, like, the Buffy series. I like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series also.
Yeah, I like the Buffy series, but yeah.
But I'm really trying to think of a movie that was remade that I really enjoyed.
It's kind of a hard setup because it's like, if you really have to think about it, it's probably something there that you haven't thought about in a very long time.
Yeah.
That you like when you look at it, like you're now like, oh yeah, like I really did like this movie, you know?
If you ask me movies that I didn't like that was remake, I have a couple.
Yeah, you probably, because you know what? Want to know the funniest thing is that, and this is something you learn from like being in customer service for like forever or management, is that you're able to remember all the negative things better than the positive things in your life. So that's kind of where the Nostalgia Police actually are able to hold on to it, because negative things are more easy. They make more of an impact in your brain than something with a positive. That's why usually when you have a positive experience, there's usually a trigger for it. Usually it's a smell, taste, a feeling. So
now let me ask you this: is Jumanji considered a remake or a sequel?
I don't know.
It's a sequel, right?
I think
it's a sequel.
It's a
sequel. Yeah.
I like the new Jumanji. I actually liked it. I hate to say it.
Loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
I watched it on. I actually got a chance to watch it. I didn't see the movie theaters, but I was like, this is actually pretty good. This isn't too bad. This isn't too bad.
Yeah, I liked it because I thought it was a little more comical. It went a totally different route. Granted, the video game idea for it was kind of weird, but yeah,
it is a magical game. So I mean,
yeah.
No,
it was, yeah.
You know,
but I did like it.
Depth.
Okay, you've given me an assignment. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, and here's a new assignment by like the next show. Like, let's think of like 5 remakes, 5 that we truly actually liked better than the originals.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I like that.
I mean, does it have to be a movie or a TV show?
It could be a movie made into a TV show, TV show made into a movie.
Because
it could be a movie made into a movie.
Now, obviously, Voltron. That's one I really.
Voltron is great. Voltron is great.
How recent?
But yeah, by the next.
How recent are we talking here?
It could be a remake anywhere, so it could be an immediate remake. It could be any remake.
Because, I mean, they're not movies, but I really enjoyed the rebooted versions of He-Man and Thundercats that came out years ago. I really enjoyed those.
They were very good. The
Teen Wolf series I really enjoyed too. Because a lot of the remakes that came out were they're all kind of old. I mean, the recent ones I can think of, like Clash of the Titans. I know that was a remake.
It doesn't have to be a comic book movie either. Let's throw that out there. It could be any remake.
Okay.
So let's throw it out there. So it could be just anything, anything that you can think of that you like the original, you like the new one better than the original.
All right, so that's the assignment. Okay. All right, I can go with that. That's the assignment.
Yeah, I can go with that too. Yeah.
Cool.
I can go with that.
All right.
Is there anything?
Man of Steel is one of those, by the way, on my list.
You know what?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say that. Man of Steel was essentially Superman 1 and 2.
Technically,
right.
Yeah.
It was essentially Superman 1 and 2. You know what? Yeah. No. I got one right now. Stephen King's It. Stephen King's It.
Stephen King's
It. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
I love it.
I love it.
What? That movie,
I was gonna say It, but there's a lot of things from the '90s miniseries that I really like.
Yeah, that's missing out of this one.
I really loved the '90s miniseries. I really did.
Yeah,
Tim Curry.
There's a couple things missing from it. So Steve Curry being the main one. I love my Steve Curry, but
hey, look, Skarsgård did amazing in that role as so. Did a really good.
But yeah, by the next show we'll get let's everybody have 5, even Katanni.
5 sounds good.
Oh, absolutely. Got it.
Right.
The next show. And that way we can kind of let that out and just see, even the viewers. You know what? Let's even throw it out there to the viewers.
Yeah.
Next stream, I want to see your top 5 remakes that you thought were better.
Yeah, audience participation, guys. Yeah.
Audience, you hear that?
Remember, it's not relegated to just a movie. It could be a movie, a TV show, or cartoon. Really anything, really. In fact, I'll even go as far as to say, what covers of certain songs did you think were better than the original?
That's another. So we're gonna do 2 top 5s.
So we're gonna do
2 top 5s.
Your top 5 visual remakes that you thought were better than the original, and your top 5 audio covers that you thought were better than the original.
Let's keep it positive on the next stream.
Just to mention this, it's this one's not a positive comment, but I have to say it. I don't know who here is a fan of Magnum PI. Okay.
Oh gosh.
I love the show. but they really held out on the theme song in the new one, man.
Listen.
Like they cut it like 30 to 45 seconds short.
Listen,
like,
listen.
Come on now.
If you think that's bad, the remake of MacGyver didn't
I
even
love
have the theme song.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh!
They didn't even have the theme song. I was mad as hell. I literally watched the first episode just to see if they had the theme song. Nope.
At least Hawaii 5-0, I think, still had their original theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
know. I never watched it.
Yeah.
They started
the remake of Hawaii 5-0.
They started the Magnum PI theme song, and because I was watching it with my mom, because we watched the original together. So we like, you know what? Let's watch the reboot together. Let's see what's going on. So we put it on. I'm like, all right, dun 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 dun. I'm like, we about to get it, yes. And then they cut it off. I'm like, what? Literally, I looked at my mom. I was like, hey yo, you seen it?
Real quick, Daryl Taylor said that he enjoyed Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. I'm sorry, but that movie was horrible. I'm sorry, that movie was bad. Listen, that movie made the original Street Fighter movie look like a masterpiece. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. We didn't deserve Raul Julius and Bison. We didn't deserve him. He was the only saving grace in that movie.
Oh man.
Well, listen, different strokes for different folks, but for me, the only real, true live action interpretation of Street Fighter is Street Fighter Assassins freaking
I'm
Fist.
still waiting for the World Warrior. I'm still waiting for it. A Street Fighter Assassin's Fist and Mortal Kombat Legacy. Even though Mortal Kombat Legacy was a different take on a Mortal Kombat story, I enjoyed it a great deal.
Well done. It was well done.
You know, but Street Fighter Assassin's Fist was probably the closest we'll get to a live-action Street Fighter movie, unless they decide to do one. I thought it was really good, but I still haven't finished watching Street Fighter V Resurrection. That Machinima, did I haven't finished that yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they ever finished it.
But,
I have a quick question for you guys. Have any of you guys seen Stranger Things?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
How would you feel? How do you think you would feel in 15 years if they said that they're going to remake Stranger Things?
It depends on how they do it.
How do you think you would feel in 15 years?
It's funny because I've thought about certain things like that. What if they remade something that's out now and remade it in like the next couple of years? So if they remade Stranger Things in 15 years, what year are we looking at? Like, it's 2018 now. That's like 2023, right? We're talking 2023. No.
Well, first of all, the audience is going to be different.
That's 2033, right?
33, yeah, somewhere around there.
I mean,
because Millie Bobby Brown is a godsend.
But the thing is that it's also going to be a different audience, so they're not going to have to change everything for that audience.
Yeah.
And
was it going to take place in the 90s rather than the 80s?
Yeah, exactly. Like that, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, so everything's going to have to now move up.
Yeah.
You know, a step forward. So it'll be a little weird because
I feel like
the time frame. Yeah, the time frames have to change. Even if they keep the same time frames, the problem is that kids won't know what half the things are.
Right.
You know,
yeah, so it has to be at a time where they're kind of close to an age to. So like late 90s, early 2000s would probably be the time frame they would have to go with.
Like and things are a lot more technologically advanced, so they're not going to change that. So it's like, it's just one of those things. As long as they change it with the time frames, I could see it working. But if they try to keep the same stuff, it's not going to work. It's not going to carry very well. And of course, you're going to have the issue with the nostalgia with these, because they're going to be like, well, it's different. It's not the same. It's not meant to be.
Real quick, Tanya said that she enjoyed the Buffy series over the Buffy movie, and she also enjoyed the Beauty and the Beast series that was on the CW.
Okay, I was going to comment on that. She's talking about the new Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
No,
movie or
the show? The show.
There was a show.
CW. Yes, it starred on Kristen Craig from Smallville.
Based on the Disney characters?
It was a different take on the Beauty and the Beast story. I think she was like a cop or something like that. And
I remember that.
I never seen it. That's probably why I'm so
Was that
confused.
on the CW?
It was on the CW, and it was like when it would come back at like a sporadic ass time. It would come back like for a new season. But I think the series is like actually over now. So
yeah, I don't know.
A remake of Lois and Clark featuring Tyler Hoechlin.
They could do that right now.
I would dig that.
They could do that after the crossover.
I would love a Lois and Clark on CW. They do that.
Mm-hmm. I say no. We can't add more to the assignment.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because I was gonna
maybe
say,
it doesn't hurt. Because when's our next show?
All right, so we got the next show won't be until like Thanksgiving weekend.
All right.
If that's cool with everybody.
That's fine. That's fine.
Right. Everybody cool with that?
That sounds good.
I'll let you know when I get there. I might be traveling, but I should still be able to.
Yes, I'm saying it's kind of gonna be weird because it depends on what day you do.
Okay.
Yeah, depends.
We'll figure out the day later on, like sometime during the week. But we got the five visual remakes that you thought were better than the original. Your 5 audio covers that you thought were better than the original, and I want 5 possible remakes of something that's on right now.
Okay.
Right?
Ooh, yes.
So we have to jump like maybe
20 years in the future.
20 years in the future. We have to do a 20-year jump. If they remake something that's on right now, how would they do it?
Wow.
It doesn't have to.
Or how would they do it? Or do you think they would do it if it would be what? If it'd be good?
I guess it would be that like if it would be a good. I kind of want to see how creative these people get. See how they would.
Well, so we're gonna throw that one. How about we do this? We throw that one at the viewers completely. Yes. Let's throw it at the viewers. Let's see that one. Let's do it that way and see. You know what? Your top 5 movies or shows that if they were made in 20 years, how should it be remade? And do you think it'll be good?
Yeah, there we go. That'll work. That will definitely work. So, of course, this is going to require a lot of audience participation.
Yes.
Yeah, we need you guys.
So
tell your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to get them on here so we can get all these answers. Because
if you can't think of something, ask someone to give it to you.
We're going to share this link.
Daryl asked if anyone remembers the Beauty and the Beast show that was on in the 80s. I do remember that show.
Ron Perlman.
Exactly. Ron Perlman played the Beast, and Linda Hamilton played the Beauty. I remember that show.
Do you know how old I was in the 80s, bro?
Yeah, we're about to say.
Do you know how old I was in the 80s?
I'm the
Let's
oldest
throw that
one
out
in
there
the
real
group,
fast.
so
Let's remember how old we are here.
But I do remember that show. In fact, that show was on Sci-Fi Channel for a little bit, like only a couple years back.
Yeah.
I do remember that show because I was like, what happened to that show? But I mean,
so what about remakes? What do y'all think remakes you think should die at this point?
Off the top of my head, wow.
I have one in my head right now.
What's that?
What is that?
Sharknado.
Who?
Sharknado?
Yes.
Sharknado.
But I think they're done, right? They're done with it, right?
You never know with sci-fi.
You know what?
Oh man!
Because this one was supposed to be the last one, but
it's like they did the same thing with Tremors. It was like Tremors 1, Tremors 2.
I don't know how
the last
still
one
going. How is that still going?
I'm like, it's.
I thought Sharknado was made with the intention of being a troll movie to begin with. I never thought people were serious, but I found out people were serious about it.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what it was? People need work. So
right.
All these celebrities be coming out of nowhere to be. Can I be in the next Sharknado movie? You know, like it's I don't know.
Shoot, if I got a deal to be in the movie, I'll be in the movie too. Why not? Hell,
yeah,
that's money.
Hey,
like,
sure, I do it.
Andre the Black Nerd was in one of them, I think.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Why not?
A remake that I thought sucked. Oh man, there's
and that should end like immediately, like now.
Damn, I just have one in my head. Well, it did end. It kind of ended on its own. That was The Mummy.
Oh God! That was a disaster waiting to happen. I'm sorry, they gave him too much license with that. And that was it was a remake nobody asked for.
It was. It
Tom
really
Cruise
was.
has the most creative control out of any visual production director. Like, this man is like Mission Impossible. He's like, you know what, man? Look, I'm gonna create everything in this movie. I don't care what you say. Even if you're the director, I'm calling the shots. Like,
and it's like, and you look back at it and you're like, holy crap, what did I just watch?
Right.
Like, I remember when I watched it, I was just like, what the hell is going on? At least with the original Mummy with Brendan Fraser, you had fun with it.
Yeah.
You knew what was happening. Everyone got equal screen time, but this new one was like
the Dark Universe.
And they shot themselves in the foot with that shit. The whole Dark Universe. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
See, Marvel had a plan. Everything. Ooh, wait a second. I just thought about that. If we're doing a 20-year jump, let's think about this. How long can the Marvel Cinematic Universe go?
Forever.
Yeah, I know.
Forever.
How far
So
can they
as far as popularity-wise, how far can it go?
Exactly.
No, forever. Forever.
No, I don't. I think with us, forever. But you have to think 20 years. There are now new generations of children walking out on the earth now.
Yeah,
They may not even. Most of these kids don't. I hate to say it. Most kids don't read anymore.
Right.
So comic books are no longer going to be like a big thing anymore. Eventually.
Well, let's not forget this though. There are more superhero fans now than there were 20 years ago.
That's true.
Right.
The fandom for superhero people is growing largely, like statistics wise, if you look at it.
Yeah, but can we say
kids,
20 years now?
I could say that because it's not even just let's say they don't read comic books. There's still mounds of TV shows, cartoon shows. There's animated series on Disney XD that's bringing newborns in. And Disney and Marvel, especially Disney, their business. Don't forget, they've been surviving for this long. They have control of Marvel for the next 20 years. They're going to find a way to make that work. Trust me. Toys, merchandise.
It's just, but you know what else? You know what else is not going to last? In my opinion, Star Wars in 20 years.
And you know, I was just about to.
You know what? You just pricked my nightmare because I've been thinking about Star Wars a lot lately, and I've been finding myself looking at more Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm like, am I jumping ship? A hardcore Star Wars fan since the movie in 77. I was 7 years old, and the way I don't know if it's just the fandom that's going on or the way things are going, but I'm starting to find Star Trek just a little bit more attractive lately.
Kathleen Kennedy.
The card.
I mean, I've been watching some of the old Star Treks and going back into my childhood because before Star Wars, I was watching Star Trek, and I'm getting nostalgic, and now I'm looking at Star Trek Discovery, and just that whole Star Trek universe is starting to look a little prettier.
Because
I don't know why,
I think it has a lot to do with Disney's hand in it, and this is kind of why I think the Marvel universe may end up that way, because Disney's hand. You also have to think who their niche is. Disney goes where their niche is. So if they can't make a world out of it and start in Disney World or in Disneyland or any other places, they kind of let a lot of things kind of slip under the radar. And I know the Marvel universe, they have it for another 20 years, but I know for a fact they're building Galaxy's Edge right now in Disney.
I personally believe that Disney just didn't care enough or don't care enough about Star Wars as they do Marvel. They just don't care about it. There's not. I'm not seeing any actual.
But the thing is, like, why build a whole world dedicated? Like, legit, Galaxy's Edge is going to be huge to the point where they're building themed hotels and everything based upon these Star Wars characters. Well, if you're not going to care about them, why throw out these
This is Star Wars land, guys. You get to drive the Millennium Falcon. You get to go to the cantinas. There's going to be droids rolling around. People dressed up in stormtroopers. You're literally going to be in a place of Star Wars world. And actually, Galaxy's Edge, that area is actually going to be canon.
Matthew,
it's going to be canon. That place is actually going to be canon.
Matthew, you made a really good point, because I was just getting ready to say there's like you said, Kim, like Disney plays to a certain niche that they have. Yeah. It's the kids. There's still a great deal of kids that are big Star Wars fans, whether it's because of the movies,
True.
BB-8, because of their parents,
the toys, their parents. Also, like Star Wars Rebels and like
but the movies,
Star Wars Resistance.
But as far as like the movies and things and the content changing from them, a lot of it seems, I don't want to call it rushed, but not thought out all the way as far as Star Wars is concerned. So, and I
though.
Huh?
I have a theory though. Like for Star Wars, I what they're doing right now, I think the reason why a lot of people are why we're maybe viewing it as it's dying is because we're focusing on the Skywalker story. But remember, Star Wars is this open universe, and the extended universe, while it's no longer canon, Disney can take a lot of inspiration from the extended universe and make plenty of spin-offs suited to the time for kids and teens, and they're trying to distance themselves away from the Skywalker storyline. That's why they got rid of Luke that way. They're trying to distance themselves from that era of Star Wars fans. They're like, you know what? That's why they showed the kids at the end of The Last Jedi with the ring in their hand. They want to introduce a new world where there's like a whole bunch of Jedi and a whole. I can see it. I can definitely see, in a way, how Disney can turn it around for Star Wars. It may not be a thing for hardcore Star Wars fans who love the original trilogy or the Skywalker story, but for new kids, definitely, because like Teen Titans Go is doing very well with kids. It's not doing really well with me, but it's doing really well with kids. So
can I quote George Lucas? George Lucas? He said, "I made Star Wars for kids, for 5-year-olds."
Yeah.
So and that goes right to the whole nostalgia thing, where we have gotten older and we have fond memories of 3PO and R2 and Luke and Han and everybody. For this next generation, it's Rey, it's Finn, it's Poe, it's
and
BB-8.
It'll go beyond Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see it, but it's just it's what point are they going to, like Avatar, for instance.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's supposed to be a new one coming out. Who knows when?
What was coming out?
Avatar.
People are flipping out over that.
I'm done with that, man.
James Cameron said he's not releasing the movie till he can get a proper 4D.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I'm done with that, man. Because
man is working with scientists, bro.
No,
for real. Like he's working with engineers trying to develop 4D theaters just for Avatar 2. He's not releasing it till that's done. That's kind of ambitious.
But the thing is that same thing with Disney. Disney has a whole world dedicated to Avatar.
Immersive. They want things to be immersive and interactive.
And it's like we lost interest in that a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. Like, first Avatar came out in 2009, 2010.
Roughly.
It's 2010. If he's not careful, he's going to run into the same mistake that Roland Emmerich ran into by waiting 20 damn years to give us Independence Day 2.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is? It's been coming on TV lately, and me and Tony sat and watched it, and it was like, you know what? This isn't bad, but Roland Emmerich screwed himself by trying to come at the MCU's neck after the movie came out, and he tried to blame superhero movies for the reason why Independence Day Resurgence didn't do that. Dude, listen, you took 20 years to make a sequel, and that would have been okay if you were giving us stuff in between those 20 years to let us know that something was coming.
That was the point I was actually about to bring up, Ken. Sorry for that. Like where Kim talked about earlier with like Star Wars. The difference is between Avatar and Star Wars is that while the films itself is taking, maybe 2-3 years to release, they still have the shows and the little stuff they have on Disney, video games and stuff to keep people like, I like Star Wars. They're not doing that with Avatar. They could have made so many miniseries, so many animes or animation-related content. They could have really milked that.
There really could have been like an animated show on like right now.
It should have been a long time ago. A long time ago. Comic books.
Right.
And it's funny because I was telling Tani, we were talking a few weeks ago about why Jurassic Park is still so popular, and I told her, the reason why Jurassic Park is still fresh in people's minds because they have toys, they have the video games. Lego has done a great job of keeping Jurassic Park alive.
You know what? That also made an impact because that was the first movie I think where we legit felt afraid for the actual characters in the movie because that T-Rex looked a little too real. It looked a little too real for us, and that was a pivotal moment for a lot of movie standards. So I believe that for Jurassic Park to still be fresh and to still come in and they still have all this brand new content and it still looks like real. Like that CGI looks.
I watched Jurassic Park. And don't thank me for the very first time over the summer. And I watched it, and I'm like, but you mentioned like the T-Rexes and stuff like that. I'm like, what? I was literally watching it in my bed. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, run!
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna eat you, bro. Like, move. Like, I was literally freaking out. But I'm like, if an old movie like that can do that to me, and I've never seen it before,
and you know what else it did? And you know what else it did? It overcame a crappy sequel.
Yeah.
It overcame a crappy sequel because Jurassic Park was awesome. The next one that came out, don't quote me on the name of it. That was a horrible movie. And to go from and then to go from that into the Jurassic World movie, and you're like, holy moly! Like, you're like it just they changed the content. They changed what it was.
Katanni said it best. She says Jurassic Park successfully fell off the face of the earth and came back with a bang.
Yeah.
Because Jurassic World, I was never a big Jurassic Park fan. I didn't watch the movies until like they came out on video. I did see Jurassic Park 3 in the movie theaters because, whatever. But, Jurassic World, I was like, I'm not gonna go see this for it. And I found myself really enjoying Jurassic World. But then Fallen Kingdom came out, and I was like, oh god. What the hell happened here?
Yeah.
This is not fun. This is not fun at all. But
first is and then now there's running and screaming.
And they shortchanged Jeff Goldblum in the sequel. Like, really?
I mean, first of all, let's pause for a minute and understand.
Yes. They
has anybody read any of the Jurassic Park books?
The Jurassic Park, no.
Nobody's read the Jurassic Park books.
Nope.
As a person who has read the books, I understand that completely. Jeff Goldblum's character was supposed to be dead.
Dead. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm in my Jeff Goldblum mode. Okay.
The same thing with the grandfather. I forgot his name. The one that created Jurassic Park. He's supposed to die in the original. And I love that about creative licensing. That they came on, they changed everything, they turned everything around, and all these characters are here in place, but it's kind of stupid. Like when you look back at it, because you're going back, you're like, how did this character become? Where did you come from? Who are you? But Jurassic Park came from that graveyard, the boneyard, to this. Same thing with what was that? King Kong.
Yeah.
King Kong was like one of those movies where even if you did not see the original movie, you knew the concept enough that you were going to go actually watch this new one.
Skull Island?
Yes.
Skull Island.
You see, when it comes to Skull Island, if you remove the plot and the lack thereof, then then the movie was great because King Kong doing King Kong stuff was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you took great actors, that's another conversation. I'm sorry. When you take great actors like Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson and give them that script,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah. Ladies
the King
and
Kong
gentlemen,
stuff was cool though.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to bounce. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to bounce. I'm really, really sorry.
Oh yeah,
to the audience.
Okay.
Love y'all to life, and I'll see y'all next time. Okay.
All right.
All right, Harold.
Thanks, Harold. Thanks for coming in, man.
You got it, buddy.
But I don't know. What were we talking about? Like,
we talking about Skull Island.
I for the most part enjoyed it. I didn't see it in the movie theaters. I watched it at home. But for what it's worth, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, it was essentially, of course, a segue into a larger kaiju universe. Yeah, basically.
And that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, and that's what I love, the fact that they did that, because they're now bringing back that whole, King Kong versus Godzilla. And I'm like waiting for that.
That's going to be very interesting, considering how big the Godzilla we have now in America is like freaking huge. And King Kong, for the most part, I mean, he's big, but like I don't know if he's as tall as like Godzilla. Either way, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be really dope. I've never watched the old one, so I'll probably watch the old one before the new one comes out. And I know the old one is like.
I just watch it for entertainment value because I love the fact that it takes him like 5 minutes to say one word. It's like amazing. I just watch for entertainment value, but I really, really like those old movies. I'm like, that's my nostalgia. I love that whole black and white cheesiness of it.
Yeah, they're talking. Hello! Run away! You're like... as a kid, that used to trip me up, yo. My grandfather watching old stuff on VHS, bro. That stuff used to trip me out.
Oh man, but it's true. It's that nostalgia. It's like, it's there, but it made me want to go see the new one.
Yeah.
And because of that, I actually have a new I have a new movie. A new I can't even think of the word right now, but I want to go see the rest of them just because of the fact that I actually enjoyed those old ones.
This is so off topic of what we were talking about. But do you guys know Aaron Taylor Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember he was in the Godzilla movie. But if you have not checked this out, this is completely unrelated. Outlaw King on Netflix. Please watch it because Aaron Taylor Johnson does a fantastic job in that movie. I just remember when we were talking about Godzilla, it reminded me of his role in Godzilla, and he's actually a lot better of an actor than most people give him credit for. So please, if you get a chance, watch Outlaw King.
I saw that
on Netflix.
I saw
check
that
it out.
I saw that it just dropped, so I think I might check that out.
Check it out. It's worth that.
Because as Chris Pine in it also, he's like the lead role in it, right?
Yeah, he's playing a real historical figure in Scotland called I think his name was Robert the Bruce, I think is his name.
Oh, okay.
And if you watch Braveheart, did you watch Braveheart at all?
I watched bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, it relates a lot to William Wallace and Braveheart and stuff. It's kind of like an unofficial sequel to Braveheart.
Okay, all right.
But you don't need to watch Braveheart to understand this.
Oh, okay.
But definitely check it out. Yeah.
All right. That works.
So we have the homework for our audience.
Stream, yeah.
We have our audience homework. So we're expecting you guys to come prepared next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks. On our next stream, take a look at those. Think about it, because we always talk about the stuff that you don't like, and the things that that change that we don't like, but we never really talk. You never notice yourself talking about the positive things.
Yeah.
As far as the movies that are coming out. So let's hear what you guys have to say about a lot of these topics here, and see if you can come up with a lot of this.
It's funny because the actual title of the next GeekCast is going to be making a content creator. Figure we could talk about like what it means to actually create something that people could listen to or watch, and like you know what goes into that stuff. You know, like me and you, Matthew, we know a great deal about it as we make YouTube videos, and I know you're going to be getting into that very soon, Kim, with as far as like your YouTube channel and stuff. So one of the things that's like really big as far as the content creators, like if you want to take something and remake it, how would you do it? Those are things that I always think about on a regular basis. Like, if I made this, or if I remade this, what would I do? How would I change it up?
You mentioned that, Ken. That was a podcast I was supposed to have on this channel, or I think Geek House channel with my friend Dylan. It was a subject that he brought up. Actually, the task was to we still never got around to doing it, but the task was to take 5 DC characters that don't have any shine or anything like that, or even if they do have a shine, take 5 DC characters and create a proposal to get a movie greenlit based on your idea for the film. So if you're going to do a Green Lantern Corps, how would you do a Green Lantern Corps movie? What are the things you're going to pitch? Your ideas. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. It's very similar to what you're trying to do with that.
That's interesting.
How would you remake a movie, or how would you make a movie? I think it'll be really cool to see what we can come up with as far as what will we do, like for instance, like your fan film.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do stuff with that?
And it's funny that you bring that up, because a lot of people, especially a lot of the cast members, have been asking me when we're gonna get started, and we're gonna try to start getting things going next year. Like next year, we're gonna try to start locking down film locations, securing the budget for all the costumes and stuff, and hopefully get a decent production crew together so we can film this thing. I'm gonna be spending the next probably Thanksgiving weekend, maybe, probably not, I don't know yet. Just going through the whole entire script and making those changes that I was supposed to make. I don't know if you got a chance to read it yet, Matthew.
I read a good portion of it. If you made any updates, just send me the new one for whatever you made the updates. I'll read that one too.
Yeah. So and then because I just finished a script for a web series that I want to start doing. I started a new one for another sci-fi web series that I want to put together. And me and you, Kim, we got to sit and talk about the idea that you have.
Well, yeah, I have a couple of ideas, because I'm figuring at this point I'm probably going to need 2 channels.
Okay.
For the content. So one for my personal and one for our project.
Kim, you gotta share this with me, Kim. I'm curious now.
You gotta share. I mean, if I share it with you, you gotta participate in it. That's all it has to say.
Okay. So, I'm down.
Okay. So, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do 2. But I'll probably have my personal channel up shortly. I'm just thinking of a good name for it right now. I'm really in between of what I want for that, but it's gonna be a little bit of a random channel, more life stuff, more my figure collections, Tariba playing, more of my Japanese, K-pop love of life right now. So that's gonna be more of that channel is concerned. Video games, more Twitch based, things of that nature. So it's gonna be a little bit more of a random channel, but the other one's gonna be a little more specific. So just keep an eye out for it. When I come up with my name for it, I'm definitely gonna have a lot of the content up. Okay. By then, so I have been recording. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But
are we taking any questions or anything? Or?
Yes.
Sure. Go ahead.
We're taking some questions for sure, definitely.
Go ahead.
And if you guys got any questions in the comments for us about anything we talked about this podcast, let us know. We can talk about it.
But we pretty much said our piece on the Nostalgia Police. I know we kind of jump here and there throughout the whole thing, but the one thing
you got a little sidetracked.
The one thing I can definitely say about, as far as dealing with the Nostalgia Police, is just just let them know that whatever they're losing their shit over, they have to understand that it doesn't really belong to them.
I say it like this, is it going to affect us in 10 years?
Exactly.
Is this conversation going to affect us in 10 years? Is it really going to, affect the way the world works or the way everything is right now? If it doesn't, then it's not necessary.
It's not worth losing your blood pressure over it.
And then the other thing, I think maybe the most important thing is give it a shot. Just give it a chance. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's one thing. You're entitled to your preferences, but at least give it a shot before you shoot it down. And if you don't like it, you at least have a previous iteration of it to go back to if you enjoyed that.
Once it's still available. Yep.
That's why we have DVDs or streaming services that we can watch this stuff or listen to this stuff from. It doesn't.
You have your you have it's. You can stay in your bubble if you really want to.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying. Just don't pop mine.
Tani says that she's switching from business-related content to makeup on YouTube, keeping the business videos on Facebook. Because, me and her have been talking. She's had the idea about starting a YouTube channel for a while now. But, everything, there's always been other business stuff coming up. But we talked the other day, and, she had talked about, putting up, like, makeup tutorials up on YouTube. And I told her, like, that would do really well. Because next to... the videos that me and Matthew do, makeup tutorials make up a great deal of content on YouTube, and a lot of people usually turn to that stuff.
So,
I don't wear makeup, so I can't help anybody with that. You'll look like a clown if you actually watch any makeup tutorial from me.
Hey, that's a great video idea.
What?
Kim does makeup.
Oh yeah, like my idea for you.
Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that one.
We're gonna do it.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna throw this out there right now. Viewers, I want to hear what you have to say about this, and this goes to yours too, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt, if you have not noticed, Matt does not like horror content as far as haunted houses are concerned. He does not do haunted houses at all. He actually, what was that last one you went to? What was the name of that one?
I got it somewhere up there, but it's Haunted Hayride.
Yeah, and he was freaking out about it.
They're like 3 or 4 in there, which I went in.
Yeah, he was freaking out about it, and I told him he'll be fine. So I said we should do a total series on just Matt going to a haunted house next year. And it actually we have a haunted house I think that stays open all year round in Jersey too. So that would be interesting to see him actually do that. And I think
if any of y'all love me, y'all would not.
I think it'd be so good for his self-esteem right now and helping him grow.
But it's not good for me.
Help him grow, so that way he's not afraid of them anymore.
Oh, no.
And I want to see what you guys think. You think we should do a Matt Goes to the Haunted House series on the show? Let us know.
You should do a Kim does makeup for the first time series on her channel.
If I do that, Matt has to do that. That's it.
It ain't that deep, man.
Tani says she's going to be doing more special effects makeup videos on YouTube, not like those regular makeup tutorials and stuff. Because she says that one of her biggest issues is the makeup that they use for Starfire. So,
Tani, please do it. Please.
But as far as the whole Matthew does a haunted house thing, we're gonna need all the votes for that. So
bring it back up. No, that's not fair. That's not fair.
So we're probably gonna. I'll probably put up a poll up in the corner somewhere, and you can vote on, and we'll record it too. We'll record the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, I'm ready for that because I would love.
We'll record it. We'll record the whole thing. We'll record Matthew's whole entire experience. If that's what I want.
We're sending him by himself. He's not. We're not. We're sending him in with a camera.
God, y'all, why y'all trying to do this? What did I do to y'all, man?
It is all love. It is all love, man.
Yes.
If you love me, you would let me not go to those things.
Well, listen. We'll send you in there with a flashlight and a camera, and you'll be good to go.
Oh gosh. Somebody said to probably stop the camera.
In other news, we have a couple questions, Ken.
All right, then. There we go. Let's go. All right.
One of the questions, this came from Chris Rodriguez. He said, are any of us excited for Birds of Prey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm more so excited at the fact that Ewan McGregor is going to be playing Black Mask. I'm very interested to see how that goes. I just hope it doesn't end up like the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That's my hope. It doesn't end up like the TV show. But I think it could do well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one we got was from Cliff. He said, from our childhood. Wait, what? What are you three most protective over? So I think he's really talking about, like, I guess things that we like, I guess.
Oh, things that I'm most protective over. I'm not really protective over anything.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing because as I've gotten older, I just realized that, like, the things that I grew up with, you know, it had its pros and it had its cons. Mm-hmm. But they're not mine to strictly be beholden to.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the best way to answer that would be nothing, really. I mean, I grew up with the real Ghostbusters, the original Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, He-Man, Garfield, Power Rangers. I mean, I grew up with all that stuff, you know. But eventually, over time, I realized that, like, you know, a lot of those things, a number of those things hold up still. But a lot of them doesn't. And the only reason to watch those things is for nostalgia reasons. That's about it.
Yeah, and there's things that, like, they're precious to me. It's a better way of putting it. Mm-hmm. Like, if that's what you want to, like, something that's very precious into my heart, and I love it. I'll love it undyingly, no matter what goes on with it. There's things like that I have, but there's nothing that I'm like holding on to and not willing to accept a change for it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I used to be super, I guess, protective over things, but like as you said, Ken, the more older I got, and I mean, I'm talking about like when I was in high school, so I'm not that much older, but when I was in high school, I was maybe like 14, 13. I was more protective of certain things at that time, and then now I'm just like, you know, I'm a little bit precious is the word to use. I would say precious to me. And for me, this is one of the things. I prefer early 2000s to maybe 2010 Disney live action shows compared to what they're releasing now on Disney Channel.
I don't watch anything now on Disney Channel.
I don't watch anything now mainly because it's not targeted to my age group. And, you know, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I guess I'm not so protective, because I remember I can go back and watch like Zack and Cody or something and be like super, or Hilary Duff and be excited about that because it reminds me of when I was a kid watching that. Compared to now, I can't watch a lot of the shows now because they're not really targeted to me. So,
but even that stuff like that for me, that was my sister's generation. Me and my sister are 8 years apart, so that was my sister's generation of stuff.
Yeah,
so watching the Hilary Duff and it's all that stuff for me. It was Mickey Mouse Club. Like we're talking old. Like I was watching, you know, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera on Mickey Mouse Club because that was me. But you know, times change. You grow up. You stop watching those channels. You stop watching those shows. I think the only thing I ever watched is iCarly, you know, and that was on Nick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that was because I liked Miranda Cosgrove as an actress. But you really don't. As you get older, you find we found ourselves kind of letting go of a lot of things because we knew it wasn't made for us anymore. And like I said, there's stuff that's still going to be dear to our hearts, and that, you know, like for me, that's Sailor Moon. Like no matter what happens with Sailor Moon, I'm still going to like Sailor Moon. I'm still going to love it.
I was just getting ready to say, like, when I was in my really big Dragon Ball Z phase, it was like religious to me, and like every day I was on it. But like, you know, as time grew on, like, and you have like things like Dragon Ball Z Kai that came out, and then of course Dragon Ball Super, and it's like now, like even when I watch Super, it's like, yeah, this is cool, but I'm not like as overly obsessed with it like I was with Dragon Ball Z. And I own the entire series of Dragon Ball Z, like on DVD. So like, if I feel like watching it, I'll just go and watch it. But it's like, it's not like when I was before, it was like I had to watch it. It was like, otherwise I'd be like, if I didn't watch it, I'd be mad for like the whole rest of the day. Like, but like now it's just like, it is what it is. And it's partly because, there's so many different ways to access these things that you can watch now through YouTube and like Netflix.
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
Exactly, so it's not like, so it's like, so, aside from that,
we don't. It's not. It's easy to get lost in your old stuff, but it's just easy enough to not hold on to it, and let's do that. But was there any other questions?
Yeah, there was a couple more. I just don't know how much time we had.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
They had some really good, two good questions actually. I really liked. Okay, so Awais, shout out to Awais, said, "Do you think that Avengers 4 will change Hollywood in a big way?" I think it's a really good question.
Well,
I think I can answer this one. I think it will change Hollywood in a very big way. Because remember, this is going to be the first movie at this scale being done in the way that it's being done. It's a conclusion of a major, long, large story arc, and a segue into a brand new story arc. And to wind up, look how big of an impact Infinity War was.
Yeah,
that changed Hollywood.
I mean, let's
especially
think about
the superhero genre mainly. I believe it will change.
I mean, let's think about this here. We have a movie franchise that's doing things that are usually kind of reserved for TV.
Yeah,
like
true.
Like,
yeah.
Like, how many shows can we think of that have lasted like 10 seasons? This is a movie franchise.
I can think of
Supernatural.
I can think of a few.
I mean, we have a movie franchise now. Granted, these are things that don't come out for like. I mean, maybe if we're lucky, we get like maybe 1 or 2 movies in the franchise a year. If we're lucky.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not like TV, where it's like the series runs from like a whole entire season. We get an episode each week. It's not like that. So the fact that not only is a movie franchise centered around superheroes, mind you, is running this long, is a milestone on so many levels. And thinking about it now, I really think Avengers 4 is going to set like a huge precedent for movies. And which is probably why there's so many people that are salty right now, because of the fact that the franchise like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing so well. And it's like, listen,
they did it right.
They did it right. Like
they did it right, yeah.
And I tell people this all the time. A lot of this stuff banked on the fact that if Iron Man didn't work, we wouldn't be here right now.
You would be here, exactly. You're right about that.
Exactly.
Everything was contingent on Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. working and selling.
Yeah,
and if it didn't go down that way,
it would have been done.
There would be no
if they had to rely on Incredible Hulk, which I know some people like. I know Cliff in my comments right now. I know he's a huge Incredible Hulk fan, but let's be real. If we put Incredible Hulk up next to Iron Man, if we had to depend on Incredible Hulk to segue the MCU, we would not be here.
No,
we would not be.
We wouldn't. We really wouldn't.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that 100%.
And the whole talk for all these years is like, how can other studios do this? I mean, like Warner Brothers tried to do it, but they put too many hands. There were too many cooks in the kitchen, and that's why it is where.
And they didn't have. And the thing is too is that the fact that a lot of people aren't working with creators,
exactly
like Marvel is. A lot of people aren't working with them. So as long as Marvel's working with these creators have been putting their 2 cents in there. You have once you have them putting their 2 cents in, they know what their fans want. They know what their base wants. They know what.
That's a really good point, Kim. Because what I've noticed with DC in particular, they have a lot of executive business people running the story, opposed to creators, which is why I think a movie like Aquaman. I know that was one of the other questions that came up, but I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, do you feel Aquaman put DC in a better light for the fans?
Yeah, it kind of segues into that question. Aquaman, looking at James Wan, right? James Wan put so much passion and love into this film just from the trailers alone. That 5 minute, that 5 minute clip alone tells me the amount of passion and creative prowess this man had within this film. I think if DC has a lot more people like that, and I know they had that within Zack Snyder, but they shut him down. If they keep having people like that, and like Patty Jenkins,
exactly, I was just going to say Patty Jenkins.
We're gonna have like DC can be on a right path. They could be on a right path.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Tani said what?
Tani just brought up an interest. She said the MCU doesn't worry about beating people. They just focus on making good movies. DC looks like they're trying too hard, which is true. In the beginning, I mean, Man of Steel notwithstanding, because I think Man of Steel, next to Wonder Woman, might have been one of the better DCEU movies that they had. I thought Man of Steel was great. A lot of people don't like it, but I really enjoyed Man of Steel. You were saying, Kevin?
It got me back into DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the other thing with DC is that, they already started off on a bad foot, and they kept doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is like the definition of insanity if you do the same thing over again and expect a different result. Yeah. They kept doing that same model because it worked for maybe one movie. And now that they see Marvel doing it, now they're trying to copy that Marvel model. Yeah. But I don't know if it's too late for them at this point, because Marvel's kind of overtaking that, that whole movie genre at the point. And you're kind of overstepping it, because I honestly can say I know that Aquaman's going to be a very personal movie for a lot of people, because I think it's going to be the best one out of the ones that are coming out for me,
definitely,
as far as visually.
Yes.
But am I interested in seeing it? Not really. I'm going to see it for one person and one person only.
We know. We know.
But, I think at this point, I think their choice in who they have chosen to represent their DC market has always been Batman. It's always relied on Batman. It's always been that. And, I think it's too late at this point. I kind of segue into a lot of
Batman and Superman. It highly relied on Superman and Batman. Mainly those two. Because Wonder Woman wasn't even in the picture excluding Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Excluding Linda Carter when it came to feature films, it relied on Christopher Reeve. It relied on Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. Those guys.
It's always funny, because I always say that the DCU kind of started on the right foot by putting Superman first, because they've banked on Batman for years. Between Michael Keaton's Batman, and then we had Val Kilmer, and then we had George Clooney, and then of course we had the Dark Knight trilogy with Christian Bale. We've relied on Batman a great deal, and I thought it was only right that they started the DC Cinematic Universe with Superman and Man of Steel. But what you said is right, Kim. Is like they're trying to copy the same mold for each movie, and it doesn't work that way. I think that's why Wonder Woman was such a great hit, is because it was a stark contrast to what we got from Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman.
Yes.
And then one of the comments. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think that Aquaman, Shazam, as well as Wonder Woman 1984, even though that got pushed back, are gonna try to stick within their own wheelhouse, and I really think the Joker movie, that just has me all types of intrigued. I'm just really interested to see where that goes.
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, man.
Yeah, because it's a different level of that. But one of the comments in there, he's Joe G, where the DC Universe messed up was that they didn't take time to build the universe before Justice League dropped. Batman, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman should have had their own solo film beforehand. I agree.
Justice League should be coming out 3 years from now. In my opinion.
I totally agree.
Justice League was way too early. Way too early. There was no reason why Justice League should have came out when it did.
No. It was too soon. It was too much at one time. It's like the same thing. The reason why I don't like the Man of Steel, because it was too much at one time being thrown at me, and I'm that type of person. I like progressive movies. I like you to build a character, so that way when I come to a movie, I really want to see, because I've grown with that character.
Yeah.
You throw it at me like that, it makes me feel as though, okay, you're just trying to force it in so that way I come into the theater, and I don't want that.
What disappoints me with because everything that you're saying, Kim, is literally everything Zack Snyder had planned for the DC. While there might have been a couple of creative errors, as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to blame Zack Snyder, because if you look at Batman vs Superman, they cut out over like a whole hour worth of footage. Because this man, Zack Snyder, what he does well when he does it is tell and build and develop characters. If there's any character, Superman, this is why like the first half of the movie is very slow and dragging. Zack Snyder took his time trying to tell that story with Superman. He wanted for us to connect to him, connect to what this man's going through, his perspective. Yeah. So when they don't take the time to properly develop, and that's one of the issues I had with Harry Potter. Okay, they did not develop the main character the way that they should have. There's 7 movies, but anyway, that's my opinion. But I agree. They need to take time to develop, and I think that's what they're trying to do right now with the leftover characters that are left, like Aquaman. They're trying to take that Aquaman movie should have came out way before this. Yes, yeah, that's just
I thought it was.
That should have been part of the Justice League movie. He should have.
But it's hard for like that comparison to be drawn though. It's very hard, and it sucks because DC Comics are so good.
Their comics, as a person who collects them, their stories are so damn great. Like the Dark Knight's Metal series itself was probably one of the best ones to come out of this comic book publishing.
Metal was amazing.
Aside from the Injustice storyline, which I think was probably one of the greatest stories they've ever written. The Injustice storyline was so perfect. It was like, I mean, you would probably think of something that we've read before, but it's like, it's not.
Don't forget Crisis, too.
And then anything dealing with a Crisis was great. And I think this is why, despite how you might feel about the Arrowverse, I think this is why they're doing so well. It's because they understand their wheelhouse. They understand a lot of the source material. I'm not saying that Zack Snyder doesn't, but when you're under the gun of the executives, it's hard to really put out what you really would want to put out.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of these new movies coming out, like you said, Star Wars is one of them, where they have, executives pushing their thumb into it, and they're kind of like, okay, we have a deadline, it needs to be done within this time, and it needs to be done this way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where when you have executives instead of, creative, representation in there, people that know their audience and know these people and know what they want to see, it kind of ruins it for a lot of people. And I think it's what's ruining the industry as a whole, not just with action movies, it's with anything, with horror, with dramas, with all that, because they don't know their audience. They just know this is a model that worked well in the past, and let's just force feed it down another throat and see if they take it. And, there's nothing original in it.
And unfortunately, that's almost a symptom of nostalgia too. Like negative, toxic nostalgia. That's also a symptom of it, because as opposed to trying to gauge what the audience is into at this current point in time, they're just trying to stick with a formula that they feel is going to work now. And then when they realize that it doesn't, then it's like they're gonna point their finger at the filmmaker, which is what they did with Zack Snyder. They pointed their finger at him, where it's like,
yes, exactly.
Then it's like, no, this is not my fault.
It's not even his fault at all. Like that's what I was gonna say a little bit earlier. Like with Justice League. If you guys follow Zack Snyder on his Vero account, I'm not sure if a lot of people are on Vero. But if you follow him on his Vero account, it's like, even if they did release Justice League really early, The amount of stuff that Zack had planned for Justice League would have been in the style of like what he had planned for Man of Steel and for BVS. He had so much Barry Allen backstory, so much Cyborg backstory that could have filled those gaps. So even if we didn't get those solo movies, we would have got some pretty good, decent build-up within the movie itself, so that when we finally see the Justice League together, and we're like, okay, this is it. Yeah. It makes sense. But the executives are like just going in and randomly cutting parts of the movie, and they're like, putting their hands in it, and they're like, that's what we ended up getting what we got.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So he was not allowed to be creative, and because Zack is like, you know what? A matter of fact, he didn't even want to release Justice League so early. The executives were like, we want a Justice League, because he wanted to tell a Darkseid story lead up before he got to Justice League.
Which would have made more sense.
So he was like, the executive, from what I was reading at the time, they were like, Zack, we need a Justice League movie. We're trying to release it in 2017. Right? Let's do it. And he's like, I mean, I don't want to release it, but let's see how I can make this make sense with what you're trying to do. And they still didn't do that.
I would have been okay. So I know there was always talks about the Justice League being split up into two parts. I think I would have been okay with that. If they had split Justice League up into two parts, like we get the Justice League Part 1 now, maybe get some other movies in between those, and then get Justice League Part 2. I thought that would have been okay. But, again, too many hands, too many cooks in the kitchen. And, now we have the lackluster Justice League that we have now. And I keep saying, Justice League should have been the most epic movie premiere next to the Avengers.
For DC. But the only difference is that Avengers came out and they had a build. They built up all their characters way before, with the exception of maybe like Black Widow and I'm trying to think this cup with maybe one or two others. They built up every single character up until that point. So by the time you got there, even the people that weren't really fans of any of those characters knew the backstory of those characters enough that they can follow that movie, no problems, nothing. You have to kind of think in the way of when you're creating, especially these types of movies, you have to think in the way of your audience. You may have people who have never seen or read or heard of the characters you're about to put out now.
Yep.
So you have to now present it to them so they understand who that person is, and they can either fall in love or learn to hate that person.
Yep.
Exactly. I don't know. The whole issue is, I don't think, and I've seen people saying this in the comment section, which I do think is a valid point. DC's animation studios, right? Look at the amount of movies that they have made. To the point where it's like, I prefer Disney. I can watch Disney. I can watch DC animation all day, every day. Look at the movies they made: Under the Red Hood, the Dark Knight Returns.
Because they have more creative license with it.
They have more creative license, exactly. And it's like, you're just doing so much amazing stuff within the animation world. It's like, you would think, like, why would the movies not have a similar approach? Even within the TV shows, they while I have some of my issues with the Arrowverse, money too. Yeah, you're right about that. 100%.
It's money. Because somebody else said the DC games are way better. Look at Arkham Knight. Look how well Arkham Knight has done versus Spider-Man. Look, you have better games coming out because the games are more they translate better. The characters from DC, I think, translate better to video game status or to animation status than Marvel does.
Minus the X-Men anime series, which is super amazing, by the way.
I mean, and the thing is that they have, these people have a lot more time to put these things together. Because, think about it. Arkham Knight came out, 2000... What was that, 14?
Maybe.
When did Arkham Knight come out?
I'll let you know right now. I'll let you know.
I don't think it was 2014. I thought it was 2015.
It was more recent than that, but I'll tell you right now.
Arkham Knight.
Because...
Can't spell.
Yeah, because...
Came out 2015.
2015. And then Arkham City, which was before that, came out in 2008, 9?
11. 11.
Oh, okay. So when you take your time and build these things up, things work out. I mean, like what a DC animated movie comes out like how long?
What do you mean? What do you mean that comes out how long? What do you mean?
Like how long in between movies?
Oh, they release movies like within a year.
Yeah.
Almost every. I would say almost every year they release something. Every year to 2 years they release something new. Because just recently we had
Death of Superman.
Death of Superman, yeah, and they're doing the Superman
Reign of Superman.
Reign of Superman.
They already come up with the storylines before they even come up with that, so they already have automatically planned out what they're going to do, what their next project is. Well, we're going to segue into that because they have the time to do it. They have the creative minds there. Those creative minds are creating this, and they put these storylines out way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Whereas you kind of get a script, and you're like, okay, here's a script. This is what we're doing. And there's no creative license in that because somebody has created and written that script.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there's no changing that, and unless you're the executives and you're allowed to, you're providing the money to change it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's a hard road for, like I said, hard road for DC, hard road, and it's sad because I am a DC fan.
Yeah,
I am not a Marvel fan, and it's I want to see a good DC movie. Again, not the one that's coming out, but I really want to see a decent, good DC movie that isn't a Batman movie, that isn't a I really want to believe in them, but it's hard because I'm with my boyfriend. I'm flocking out to Marvel movies because they're just more interesting.
Yeah. The DC world needs to just unless they really change their whole approach. I think their whole approach behind it just has to change.
It does.
As far as they need to move some seats around in that DC Congress of things. Right? They need to change some seats and get the people who care. I wouldn't say, because if you rely too much on fans too much to determine your things, sometimes it may not go too well because sometimes fans demand too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But they have to be able to do what Marvel does well by finding a balance between providing proper fan service and also doing what's right for the story and doing what's right for the franchise.
Hold on one second, guys. Yep.
Should I turn the light?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I know a lot of people keep saying that DC should have like their own Kevin Feige, and in my honest opinion, I always thought it was Jeff Johns. I always thought it was him.
I always thought it was Jeff too. Yeah.
Then to find out that they let him go, and then it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys doing here? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, I'm hoping these next DC movies, kind of turn the tide, and they kind of get themselves together at some point, So.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got any more questions or anything?
I don't know if you have anything. Let me just double check. I mean, they were talking about some King. Well, do you think that Kingpin should be? Okay, do you think that Kingpin should be in a Spider? I think it's a small question. Do you think Kingpin should be in a Spider-Man movie?
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem as if he would fit with Tom Holland's side of things.
Yes, he would. I don't care what anybody says. He needs to be in a movie. I don't care.
Do you want the same actor to play him?
Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk needs to be in the movie. That's just how it is. Like his Fisk, especially actually in season 2. I think I like his Fisk more in season 2 than I do in season 3. Although his Fisk in season 3 was just like perfection, but the way he was
I still haven't caught it yet, man.
But the way he was maneuvering things while he was in jail in season 2, I thought was great. And
very, very gangster.
I would be interested to see how he does against Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I would really much enjoy seeing that.
Yep.
So yeah, I would definitely like to see that happen.
There was a question about the Arrowverse. Do you think the Arrowverse crossover will be let down?
No.
Will be let down after this year. It'll be amazing.
What was the question?
No, sorry. Do you think that the Arrowverse crossover will be a letdown after having last year be so amazing?
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm going in with an open mind, really. The crossovers have been amazing to me. The last one was really on point.
Yeah.
But Elseworld is a very. I really want to see what they're going to be doing with Stephen Amell in that Flash suit. And plus, we got Jay Garrett. I mean, Jay Garrett. We got original OG Barry Allen in his old costume. Man, come on, you can't get better than that.
There's so many things with this crossover that are piquing my interest. The fact that we have Batwoman. That's one. Batwoman showing up. She's the only She's the only Bat character that hasn't made a live action appearance. So far, we've gotten Batman, of course. We've had a couple of Robins. We've had a couple of Batgirls. I mean, there's a couple others that haven't made it that are part of the Bat family, but right next to that is Batwoman. Would be the very next in line that hasn't shown up. So that'll be interesting to see. The fact that we have the Monitor playing a big part in this crossover. The Monitor is a character that no one's ever touched. I don't think even. I think maybe even I think the only people that have touched it are like the animated universe that may have touched the Monitor.
You talking Anti-Monitor?
There we go. The Anti-Monitor.
Anti-Monitor. Yeah. I haven't really seen him being touched like that.
So that's gonna be.
He's a very hard and big character to really touch too.
Exactly.
It's very difficult, I would think.
And then of course we got the Black Suit Superman. We have John Wesley Shipp returning as original Barry Allen.
I'm so psyched for that. I love the original Flash so much.
We have new Barry Allen and Oliver Queen switching suits. Like, what's that about? Like, what's going on with that? So, as much as I love Crisis on Earth X, I thought it was a very great crossover. I'm very interested to see where this one goes. Like, I'm just like you, Matthew. I'm going in here with an open mind, and I don't think we'll be disappointed, though. I really don't.
Yeah.
So, and then the simple fact that we're getting Superman in this. Of all the other crossovers, Superman was never included. So a crossover that's big enough to have Superman to be a part of it.
Excuse me real quick. I'll be right back.
So, I mean, do we have any other questions?
I have to check. Hold on. My base is being attacked, so I had to actually get that set up real fast. I'm not seeing anything on his. Any questions on your side?
No, not on my side. Because if we don't got any other questions rolling, we can take it down on how Matthew gets back.
Yeah, I don't see anything else.
Yeah.
Check Facebook just to make sure.
Let's see. Matthew, welcome back. So,
unless he knows of any questions that I didn't see.
Let me double check. You just scroll up and see if I see anything. Oh, I did see a question earlier. I'm just trying to remember. But I think we kind of might have already answered that.
Okay.
It's about the Batwoman thing, but we already talked a little bit about Batwoman. Wait. Yeah, no, I don't really see anything else besides what we've already discussed. Well, someone asked, how do you think Avengers 4 will start? But that can be a lot of options. I don't know if you guys have anything to say.
I have nothing.
I don't know how it's going to start, but I know how I kind of want it to start. Like, in my opinion, I would want it to start with, like, I don't know, maybe maybe not even a couple of months. Maybe it's like a few days. It's a few days since the snapping, and like everybody's just walking around trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Maybe because
I do have a two-part question concerning that. One of the questions is, I don't know if we talked about this. I think we might have already talked about this at some point. Do you want to see a trailer for Avengers 4? And two, how would you feel if Shuri actually stepping in as the Black Panther as she does in the comics.
I think that's what has to happen.
The first part of your question, I don't need a trailer. I don't need no type of trailer whatsoever for Avengers 4. All I need is a blank ass poster that says Avengers 4 release date, and that's it. That's all I need.
That's all I need.
As for the second part of your question, I think it would be kind of dope if Shuri stepped in as the Black Panther, for the time being, because
temporarily.
Yeah, I think I would dig that. I would definitely dig that.
Yeah, I would like to see because I saw a really cool cosplay on Instagram. You've probably seen it too, from Cutie Pie Sensei, in a Black Panther suit that she made, and I'm like, yo, if they gave this suit in the movie for Shuri, that would be really cool. But then again, too, though, Shuri's still pretty young in the series, and in the comic books, Shuri doesn't become the Black Panther until she's like mid-20s. When T'Challa is like presumed dead, so that's like years of training and stuff. So I don't think it would really work. But as far as the trailer's concerned, like you, I don't want to see any trailers. I don't want to see no teasers. I don't want to see nothing. No announcements. Nothing. Nothing. I just want to go into this movie. Yeah. I'm actually really, as I am right now, I'm very satisfied without a trailer. For Infinity War, we all wanted a trailer because we kind of wanted to know what we were getting into. But now that we kind of see what's going on, if they go the next six to 8 months, I think that's when the movie's gonna be coming out. Yeah. Or less. When it's supposed to come out next year? Do we have a release date for Avengers 4?
I know. A lot
of people around May.
Like May around this, or like around the beginning of the summer, or something like that. Because Captain Marvel's supposed to be coming out when?
Yeah, May 3rd, 2019.
There we go.
And then Justice League, Justice League Avengers 4 is supposed to be coming out.
Captain Marvel comes out March 8th.
Okay.
Oh, that's coming out sooner than I thought.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, so
I mean, as far as it stands, Captain Marvel's going to be my trailer. And that's it. Captain Marvel's going to be my trailer. I don't need no trailer. I really don't. I don't need one. I'm good.
They said, and this is a question for you too. Would you react to Avengers 4 trailer if it came out?
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
I'm gonna be so tempted though. I'm not gonna lie.
I would want to, but like I would probably jump in front of the camera and just be like, "Hey, listen, I know you guys are expecting a Avengers 4 reaction video, but you're not gonna get one because I'm not gonna watch this. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just
knowing me though, it's gonna be extremely hard for me to stay away from chit chatter.
Yeah.
Surrounding that trailer, if a trailer or teaser does release, it's going to be so hard for me to stay away from spoilers. So I might as well just give it.
I automatically know a lot of my friends on my Facebook, they're going to be posting the trailer up left and right. I don't know. I might have to go on a Facebook fast that day and just be like, no.
You're gonna have to go on a Facebook fast until the movie released.
I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about that because I don't. This is probably the one trailer I legit don't want to watch. I don't. I want to go into Avengers 4 completely, like, fresh. Like, super fresh. I don't want to know nothing.
I think I might skip that reaction, too. I don't care about the views. I might skip the reaction on that one.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Do you want any more questions? We got two more, but it's up to you.
We do two more. Then
do two more questions.
Yeah, then we'll drop down, take it down.
You got some really good ones, but this one is a good one. Should the X-Men... Okay, I'll say the two questions. Should the X-Men be merged with the current MCU or stay in its own universe? And the second question is, which I just saw, is there any superhero shows currently on right now that's letting us down?
To answer the first question, I was under the assumption that it was already established that at some point the X-Men were going to be integrated with the current MCU. I mean, at least after Avengers 4 comes out. I wouldn't want to keep it as own separate universe because we've already seen how well that's turned out.
Yeah.
At this point right now, and I was telling Tani this too, like if and when they introduce the X-Men into the MCU, they're gonna recast it. They have to recast it. So
no, they have to. They have
to recast it. So I'm very much looking forward to the X-Men coming in. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm more excited for the Fantastic Four to be.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Because
I was about to say that. Yeah,
the Fantastic Four has gotten cheated as far as the movie is concerned. So I would much rather see them come first than the X-Men right after that.
You mentioned that. You know what would be amazing about that? Mm-hmm. Black Panther 2 is coming out.
Right.
What a better way to introduce the Fantastic Four than Black Panther 2. Because for all Black Panther fans like myself who know, the very first time that we got introduced to Black Panther was through Fantastic Four. And they went to visit Wakanda because T'Challa heard about this group and he wanted to test them. So he invited them to Wakanda. So I could see Fantastic Four, maybe stumbling across or somehow visiting Wakanda and maybe in a post-credit scene or something. And I think that would be a really good way to introduce the Fantastic Four. I
would dig that.
Really cool.
I would.
It'll be a nice tie-in too with the comic books. Nice reference to the comic books as well.
The second question he asked if there was any superhero show right now that's letting me down.
Yeah.
Really? Because I'll be honest with you, the only shows that I'm really watching are things on the Arrowverse. I haven't started watching The Gifted this season. I don't know if are there any other superhero shows that are on?
There's Legion. My TV on.
There's Legion.
Legion I couldn't get into. I tried.
Yeah.
I tried to get into it, but I couldn't get into Legion. I just couldn't. I literally tried a couple episodes. I think I tried for half a season and I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah, same here. There's Runaways, of course, is that.
I'm waiting for that to come back. I actually found myself enjoying the Runaways, so I can't wait for that to come back. I thought it was pretty good. It was interesting in the beginning, but then I was like, you know what? I can't get into watching this show.
Mm-hmm. For me, I don't think there's any shows in particular that disappoint me. Well, actually, yes. No, I have one right now. There's Cloak and Dagger 2. The one that's disappointing me, Cloak and Dagger is pretty good. I haven't finished it yet, but it's pretty decent. But the show that's upsetting me right now is Legends of Tomorrow.
You know what?
And I haven't even started the new season yet, and I don't think I will.
You know what? I can kind of roll with you on that because I don't know
they're doing.
They
fell off after season 2. They fell off after season 2.
It's I feel like they're trying to play that show out, and I don't know why. Because there's a lot of cool characters on that show. Amazing. But this season, it's been whatever to me. It's been whatever. I mean, I still watch because it's hours, but it's been kind of whatever to me. It hasn't really been. And the fact that, John Constantine's on there now, so you figure that would make it a little bit more interesting, but
I'd rather Constantine have his own show again.
Yeah.
Because I would tell you, to add to what you're saying, Ken, for me, I hate the fact that Legends of Tomorrow has turned into a whatever show.
Yeah.
When you look at season 2 of Legends, which is the best season.
Yeah.
It's the best season in my opinion. Reverse Flash, Legion of Doom. That was so amazing.
Yeah. And
the thing is, it went from a show that actually mattered, a show where events and certain things really mattered, to now they're doing just Bebo and a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm like, why are they doing this though? And that's why people enjoy it, and I practice what I preach. Okay, so people enjoy it. So if people like it, let them keep watching it. But after I haven't finished season 3, the last 3 episodes, for that reason, I don't even think I'm going to watch this new season at all, because I've just been let down by it. I'm not going to waste my energy to be upset for something that I'm not going to waste my time to be upset about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping this season picks up because I guess the general premise is okay because they're involving magic into the season, but it's think about it. The Legends of Tomorrow aren't even included in the Arrowverse crossover.
They're not even included this year.
That should kind of tell you
a lot.
And the thing is that it would make sense for them to be included the most because they can travel through time.
Exactly.
So to travel between different universes would probably fit into their wheelhouse right now. How many time periods can you travel to before it gets old?
Exactly. I think that's the problem with this show is, in particular, after season 2, I felt they ran out of ideas. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of errors in history that can be touched, of course. They already touched the Jurassic era a little bit. They already touched the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th century. You know, they've touched a lot. They've touched the future heavily with Green Arrow and in the future. So it's like, where can you go from there? Where can you actually go from there?
You know what's interesting though, because and I was just saying this because after watching last week's episode of The Walking Dead and then this past episode of Arrow, a lot of these flash forwards are doing very interesting things for me, and especially the flash forward for Arrow at the end of the episode, and it was just like Felicity. I mean, spoilers if you guys haven't been watching. But
yeah, I've been watching.
Apparently Felicity,
I haven't finished the last season, but it's fine. Yeah.
You know, apparently Felicity Smoke is dead. You know, Renee's daughter grows up to be a vigilante. You know, William and Roy made it back to Star City. So I'm wondering if the future that's set right now that they're flash forwarding to has anything to do with the future that we saw in the previous episodes of Legends of Tomorrow, where Slade's son took over the city and Connor Hawke was the new Green Arrow. Because remember, when Connor Hawke showed up, he didn't even exist. Diggle had a daughter until Flashpoint, and now Diggle has a son. So I'm wondering if that's playing into that future right now with everything that's going on.
If they do approaches like that, because time is that they introduced the concept that time is something that's forever changing, and what you do now will affect the future. Future is not set in stone. Even Jay Garrick in The Flash said that at one point with their theory of how things work is the future is not set in stone. It's forever changing. So if we focus on the Legends doing more things in the future, that will give them at least a couple more seasons to work with things. Yeah, I believe. You know, because you're ultimately changing the outcome of other things, which will also change the outcome on other shows as well. Yeah. So, but back to Elseworlds, I think it's very sad or interesting as to the reason why they didn't involve them into Elseworlds. I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find out why, because that irked me when I found out that they weren't going to be a part of it. And I'm like, they've been a part of every crossover since then.
And they've been like the core of it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll find out eventually. You know.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, if that's it for questions, then we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
You know, we went hard. We went for like a good 3
hours.
Almost 3 hours. Yeah. So
3 hours and 2 minutes. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and hopefully everyone remembers their assignment. I will be posting up the assignment on all the social media outlets, Facebook.
Don't forget
Instagram,
the poll.
And the poll about Matthew doing the haunted house.
Oh, why did you bring it back up?
We ain't forget, bro.
Come on, bro. Man.
We got you, bro. We got you. We ain't forget.
Oh, my God. Dude. Why can't y'all just have to try weird food instead? How about that? Matthew tries foreign food.
Everybody does that, man. Everybody does that. Everybody.
Come on, bro.
But in any case, I want to thank Matthew, Kim, Harold, as well as Katanni for chiming in, and everybody else who participated in today's podcast. I hope you guys do a lot of homework between now and the next one, because we're going to be very interested to hear what you guys have proposed for remakes, which ones you like, which ones you didn't like, and which ones you would want to remake on your own. We'll be doing the same thing too, of course, so we'll have our list together as well also. And, you know, this will of course tie into our main topic of discussion next time, which will be making a content creator, which we'll be talking about, you know, the ins and outs of, you know, making content, whether it's music, you know, movies, YouTube videos, and things like that. You know, so you'll be get ready for that. You know where you can find us. We're here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Discord, Patreon. Definitely Patreon.
You said Twitch, I totally forget that I've been streaming on Twitch, and there was comments on Twitch. Oh, shoot. I just switched over to Twitch. There were lots of comments on Twitch.
Oh, wow.
I just remembered. Oh, shoot.
All right, real quick, let's try to run through those.
Hey, make sure there's no questions over in Twitch before you.
No, there was just people commenting, and they're talking about different scores and different stuff that we talked about previously, like an hour ago.
Okay.
Hour.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're good on that.
Okay.
Ooh. I have a question, Ken. Were we able to set up a Council of the Blerds Instagram yet? I couldn't do it
yet. So those of you who are watching, we're looking to create not only a Council of the Blerds Instagram, but definitely a Council of the Blerds Facebook page. We're looking to set that up. We are in the process of finalizing our logo, so that should be done. Once that is done, then we'll have it set up. I'll probably start setting it up this week anyway, and then once the logo is done, we'll have the logo up right there, ready to go. And you guys will be able to find us right there. So whatever questions, comments, anything you would like to share with us, you can share it there. Once it is done, I will share the link in the description box. I will share it on Instagram, and everybody else here who was a part of the council will share it there to their respective universes as well.
The only thing we ask is that we keep it positive.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, because usually a lot of what I've noticed with a lot of these pages or whatever, that they don't allow the people to post content,
Right.
and we're allowing you guys to do that. So we want to keep it as positive as possible. We want to make this a positive environment for everyone, and it's not just for it's for every nerd, and not just for us, not just for anybody who wants to join. So definitely share.
Yeah,
everywhere.
the key, as Kim said, the key is always respect. Even if you disagree, I can't preach this enough. Even if you disagree with somebody, or even if you disagree with me or anything that Ken says or Kim or anyone on the council, or even your fellow peers in the comments, like, always have respect. Absolutely. Even if you disagree, respect is key.
Mm-hmm. So definitely look out for that for within a week or so. It'll just be the start, and then of course whatever you want. And also, I don't want to make this perfectly. Whatever suggestions you might have, if there's things that you want us to talk about on the GeekCast, you're welcome to share it on the Facebook page as well. Just keep in mind that it will not get covered until the next podcast or the next GeekCast. So don't kill us if it's not there. If we don't do it right away. We try to have the thing scheduled for a certain time. So whenever we schedule the next next GeekCast, that's when we'll do it. Okay.
I just had an idea. We can talk a little bit more about it in the chat.
Yeah.
But if you haven't thought about it already, you should definitely start a Council of the Blerds Discord.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
That's a great way to keep the community active. I think
we will definitely talk about that, Matthew. Yeah. I think that sounds like a great idea. Because at some point, we'll probably do a live GeekCast while playing a video game. We'll probably do that at some point. We'll probably just all meet up.
Well, are we all playing different video games? Or
well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Maybe we should get 76 and all play.
It's like in the in the Discord channels, you could actually have different subjects, and people can like chime in on whatever's trending that week and stuff. So we can talk about it, yeah, man.
That'll be perfect. Yeah. Actually, that'll be really well. That would work out really well too. So we'll definitely do that.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm your host, Kendrick Grey, the Jetlock Blerd, and thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, at some point during the week, the audio for the GeekCast will be up on all of your local podcast streaming services, so don't worry. It may be a little bit long because it will be combined with the previous one from last week, so get ready to hear a lot of talking. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will catch you guys next time.
You were watching Council of the Blerds, a GeekCast. The Council has spoken. End transmission.